Thank you, Leslie. I think Leslie probably has done more for the Texas acupuncture profession than almost anybody I know of. Because she was here at the beginning. The first year, when I first came to Austin, Texas, here in 1995, in March, that was the first year I come to the OMA. To work for OMA, back then was the founder of Still Watts. Because you all know Still Watts?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, he was the one that gave me the chance to come here to talk to you. To work at Elma, that was back then it was called TAI, T-A-I, Texas Acupuncture Institute. Very few people know about that. So Leslie was there. She was doing everything. She was on the board of the school. She was a student, but she does everything. She even worked as a cashier, taking the money at the end of the day of school, and she was balance accounting. She did everything. Give her a hand. Yeah. Well, thank you, Alice. Leslie, give me a chance to share this here. So today, first I have to quote my teacher. One of my teachers says, he says something, Dr. Professor Chow, he says something that's interesting. He says, you see a patient for the first time, you don't give any results. Patient will forgive you. They will give you a second chance. You may come back and see you a second time. He said, if you see a patient for a second time and still no results, you could pay the patient to come to see you and they will not come to see you. I remember that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I said, wow, you know. So when Leslie was giving me this chance, I said, so I want to open up because I'm in practice just like you. First, I'm going to tell a little bit. So Leslie, thank you for the title, Effectively Treating the Pain the Quick and Easy Way. Because we all in practice, we all have to work. We have patients to see, and we all need to produce results and produce more results so you can make a nice living. Is that true to everybody? Okay. So who is now in practice? Just come here for the license. Is the license the only one? Everybody has an active practice? Okay. So how many people only practice 3 years or under? 3 years or under, or less. 5? 5? No, have you practiced 5 years or less? Yeah. How many has been practiced 10 years? Okay. 10 years, how's that? Yeah. How many 15? Okay. How many has been like Leslie 20? Okay. All right. How many has been 25? That's right. When I first came here, working for the stewards, and Ivan Matilda, he was treating in the clinic, stewards clinic, and he was teaching, and Gail was teaching, but not in the clinic. And so Ivan actually my first colleague in the clinic here in Austin, Texas. Give him a hand, yeah. So a lot of you have a lot of experience, many years, and a lot of knowledge about Chinese medicine. So here today, what I'm going to share is nothing new, but I'm going to share what I do in practice and how I treat the pain. And that is first. Well, so this works. Okay, I'm going to, for those of you who do not know me, because Ivan knows it, Leslie knows it. I was a farm boy. I was born in China. And I grew up on a farm, a little village. And I remember when I was about 13 years old, because in a farm in China, China, you go to the field. Because I was working on the rice field at 13 to help out. Just like in a couple of days, a season, a few hours here and there, not much. But one day, I think my father was very strategically taking me to work in the July time, July. Remember where I live is just about as hot as in Austin, Texas. This is not close, but very close. Because he was taking me to work on the rice field and collecting the rice. And it was can you imagine rice field? And after working me about 1 hour, it was really hard. And he said, son, we grew up. Do you want to do this, or you want to learn something? So, well, anyway, so it's pretty easy choice. I don't know about you, right? Because in China, back then there was very, very few schools. So the only way you learn something is you will score well, and and then you get a chance to go to any professional school or college or something. Back then in China, even you get a chance to go to any school, getting you out of Westfield is a good deal. So about age 14 and a half, because after the first test, because in China back then, that was right after Chinese Cultural Revolution, right? Because 1960, for those who know Chinese history. So by the time I was 14, then China, there was no, for 10 years, there was no professional education. And Chinese leaders look at us, whoa, boy, we need to trim some people, let's get hurry. So somehow they opened the doors for young kids like me, had a chance to go to school. And my chance was, I was, for some reason, I was selected to go to school, Chinese medicine school. And that year, my school was very, very small. You look at the name of school, the name does not exist. It become combined part of another school. And that year, it was 51 kids, about my age, 51 kids. The whole school enrollment is 51 kids. It's just not much bigger than Elma, it's maybe smaller. And we all, from home, and they all come to the school, and then every day we were just sitting in the classroom. The classroom maybe a little, probably this size, maybe a little bigger, because we're sitting very close, like you, just keep me all the table for you, but in China, I was very close. And the dorm, my dorm, I remember this classroom, and that classroom was my dorm. The next door classroom, that was my dorm. And we have 7 kids living there. I lived there for 4 years. That was my first school. So, back then, you think about, because I think the school is very small, but somehow that got me started my journey of Chinese medicine. Because looking back, none of the teachers were really, really masters, but they get started. So later on, I went to the school to the Harbin, because some of you know Harbin, we've been there before, and I went to for the master. That's where I met Dr. Ma, and he was, same year we enrolled us for the master degree under the same professor. How odd is that? Yeah, I mean, he's later on he went to Beijing for his PhD and studied under the master one. That's the doctor like that level is the best that you can ever hope achieve. So later on, so that's how I get my started. So 1995 is when how I come to Austin, Texas. People say, how did you choose Austin, Texas? It's such a nice school. I thought, I made a good choice. The truth is, I didn't make any choice. Still was somehow in the university. The founder, the Elma, the founder, Stu Watts, very top. Have anybody met Stu Watts before? Who has not met Stu Watts? Don't know what it is.
Well, I know who it is.
Okay, all right. So most of you are just very friendly. You know how friendly he is. So that's how I got started here to study in America. My first job here, I was teaching. My teaching at Elma, looking back, I taught here about 7 years. 7 years. I think, Leslie can correct me, I think of all my teachings are focused or limited to herbal medicine. I never ever teach any class, acupuncture, even single point. I never ever. I mean, is that true? Yeah, because the reason why is all my training, 7 years of training and schooling, is all focused on the herbal medicine. And so I never felt confident enough to teach acupuncture, so whatever, But in the practice, I use a lot of acupuncture. So today, I'm going to be very vulnerable. I will not only talk about herbs, I will talk about acupuncture. So if I said something wrong, and which very likely happen, and we got so many, you help me out, or either forgive me or correct me. So I'm just getting to tell you what I do. So at this point in life, you don't have to hide it, pretend, But in the clinic, I think when I was supervising, I would discuss students about the point, those things, but never in the classroom. I never teach a single acupuncture classes here. So this is kind of new. So this is my first rodeo on that. 2001, year 2001, the Elma was still was founded, the great founder school, and I think he sold the school to new owners. There was a transition, and that was the time when I started my own private practice. We called it Acupuncture Plus, in 2001. So that was what, 17 years ago. That was a long time. So anybody how many people are in private practice yourself, open your own office? All right, so you know, you're all familiar with the struggle I had to go through, right? Hey, Rochelle, good to see you another one, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So what exactly we're going to talk about here? Today we're talking about 5 things. Number 1, low back pain. Number 2, frozen shoulder. And number 3, knee pain. And number 4, side pain. Number 5 is what? Back pain. So I started with low back pain. Everything I share here today is going to be very, very basic. It's very, very basic. It's nothing fancy. But I have to tell you a story. How I got started with the treatment of low back pain. Second year I was here in Elma teaching. The school I went to, the dean of the acupuncture dean, Dr. Sun Sun Tian, Professor Sun Sun Tian, even in China, you got to know him, you know, this guy's, he has one name, One Needle Doctor. I mean, he was just so famous, you know. The other day I met somebody who knows him from China. So I'm friends with his son-in-law. In China, I never really listened to any class. He was here. He was kind enough, we invited him to come to the Elma. Some of you might be in his class. Give one seminar, 2-day seminar for the scalp acupuncture. Now they call it neuro acupuncture. Anybody heard about neuro acupuncture? Okay. Anybody knows Jason Al? I mean, who teaches Jason is one of the outstanding students of Dr. Sun. Let's put it this way. So Dr. Sun he's 80 now. I mean, he's still treating patients. So when he was here, I was his translator. I hosted him and I was his translator, and we videotape it, and it's probably some cassette, probably still at Elma's library. You may want to check it out. That was 22 years ago. So I learned how to treat low back pain from him while he was here in America. I never learned that from China, with him in China, because I didn't have much access to him in China. He was busy, and I was studying under my Professor Huang, and he was another famous doctor. So you would say, what is the big deal about low back pain? How many people here treat low back pain? A lot. All right, so we are familiar with that. Looking back this past 20 years, I think, you know, I probably have treated over 1,000 patients. 1,000 patients alone just for the lower back pain. For lower back pain. And as you know, because my experience is this, it takes about 4 sessions to get somebody well healed from the acute lower back pain. If it's chronic, it takes about 8 times. That's my experience, maybe 12, 8 times. So you can imagine, you know, 1,000 patients, each comes about 4 times, or maybe 6 times on average. That's 6,000 patient treatment times for lower back pain alone. You do the math. How much money that will pay you? And how many people you help? So this is very common, it's nothing special, but somehow every time patient comes in, this is what I do, because I have actually 3 associates from my office.
Sir, I'm sorry, would you mind if I cut through here and open the door in the corridor,
Please,
rather than have to mess with the lock?
please, you
Sorry,
already,
guys.
go ahead, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You can't go in that door.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sometimes in life you gotta be flexible, you know. You only start interrupting because you're looking there and you know it's the same interruption. So it matters that go through. So you have to channel the energy, you know. What do you think? Yeah. So this low back pain, I just want about this because low back pain is very common, it's very simple, but somehow it's important. I don't know why low back pain is, because like say, for example, one of the patients, Amy, this lady has low back pain for 13 years. And she was a veteran working for the US Air Force. And for 13 years, she has low back pain. And one day her doctor says, you know, Amy, have you tried acupuncture before? And I said, yes, I have. And the doctor says, hey, why don't you try it again? From a doctor. Can you believe that? I was impressed with that. So somehow she came in, she said, twice a week acupuncture, and 12 sessions later, the back pain brought down to 0. She can drive 5 hours, she can, you know, fly airplanes to your friends, you know, retirement party, and do that comfortably. And she has something else. She has also not sleeping well. So basically, she did 36 sessions of acupuncture. That's a lot of sessions, I understand that. But back pain's put into the 0, sleeping from 1 hour to 7 hours. And 7 medication from 7 medication to 0. You know, her psychiatrist says, Amy, I take this. She says, no. I take this, no. I take this, no. So that's the what acupuncture can do for low back pain, because you can change people's life. Can you imagine somebody low back pain for 13 years? You know, this making me think of another thing is, you know, besides acupuncture and Chinese medicine, there are not many options for people who have low back pain. There are none. I mean, if there was some effective way to treat low back pain, she wouldn't suffer for 13 years. I mean, she's not stupid. She knows how to seek help, and she somehow couldn't find it. And for 13 years, she had to suffer. I don't know how many people still outside suffering from low back pain, you know. So I found that low back pain is not only common, but acupuncture is very effective. All right, so I'm going to go some basic things about Chinese medicine. You are sort of talking about acupuncture. I still will talk about herbs. For this pain, there are 3. In order to treat the pain effectively, you got to know the way, got to know the key. This morning when I walked into this office, this door here, I got it here, 7:40. Can you believe that? And guess who's inside? And others came walking in here. Lester. Yeah. You know, I think about that. Had she did not have the key, open the door, she wouldn't get in here. Right? I mean, she may have broken a window or something, but with the key, a turn, she comes in. Same thing is, if you want to treat the pain, you want to find the key, what the key is. You know, you don't want to break the windows, you know, that kind of thing. You want to, hey, you know, what are the keys? What are the keys, right? So in my whole life, professional life, I always looking the key. You know, how to solve this problem, what is the key? Once you have the key, you know, it's easy. You know, you don't need too much muscle. You can, just like last one, you can open. You don't have to be, you know, a strong guy. You know? So for the key for that pen, there's about 3 things. You know, I didn't even do all of this. Because nowadays I'm more a student of acupuncture than a teacher. So I learn. Who do you learn from? You know, you learn somebody who's done it before you have done it. It's longer and better and more specialized. So happened to me, I just buy this book to read, you know, because I'm no longer in China. I'm just buy books from abroad to China and just read. All right, so there's 3. One is deficiency. In order for the pain to happen, like arthritis or something, if the cold, if the heat, or whatever happens in the body, inside something happens first. There is deficiency happens first. So there's always some kind of deficiency. Well, not always, but the deficiency is one key factor. Second one is there's some pathogenic factors. Lucky we're in Texas. We don't have a lot of cold, but for people living, I came from, you know, when the school Harbin is very cold, and New York, Canada, it's very cold. When there's some cold areas, there's a lot of cold, and even today the weather getting cool. So the cold, when the inside is deficient, the cold, the heat, the wind, it's just much easier to attack the body. That makes sense, right? So it just goes based on that. And third one is stagnation. Either blood stasis or chi stagnation. For example, you know, if a Johnny plays soccer and then just a lot and fall down something, that creates somewhat. We call that chi stagnation, blood stasis, right? If, you know, when I was coming this morning, Dr. Zhou was gracious to help me, you know, she was there, I was here to move the table. The reason why I wanted her to help me out because I don't want to move the table myself and it hurt my back. Because a lot of people, I find out here, don't know how to move furniture anymore, right? There was a couple, 10 years ago, a young boy. I would say he's very tall, but he's only 12 years old. He went to his friend's house and have some fun, and then somehow they asked him to help moving the furniture. And he said it was an easy one, but it's the following day, his back was hurting. And he couldn't do anything. He couldn't play soccer, he has to start from practice. I mean, he looks like an adult. 12 years old, he's strong. No experience how to move furniture. And I don't know how big it is, but all I know is that his back was hurting. And he went to physical therapy, he did a lot of things, and still, somehow his mother said, son, you know, you do acupuncture, so he brought him to do acupuncture. So that basically three things: deficiency, pathogenic factors, and then qi and blood stagnation. So we treat the pain. When I treat the pain, that's where I'm going to focus. You know, I want to have this key to get this door. I want to have this key to this pen so I can get results. If I want to live, I want to eat, you know. And so that's, by the way, there's 12 years old boy. 10 years ago, his father had low back pain, and his mother called him, and he came in, he did 8 sessions, the pain was healed. But take a long story short on that. So first, I'm going to go to the base. Once we get the base out of the way, it'll be easier. So those are some of the common herbs we use. There's some herbs treat the wind, because you know the pain in Chinese medicine, arthritis, one thing is the wind, right? So there's some herbs. You know all know the Changhuo, you all know the Duhuo. And Changhuo is for the upper back, Duhuo is for the lower back, but for both, actually, a whole body. And Qingjiao and the Wei. So these are the basic herbs for the wind. And later on, you'll see them in the formulas. Okay, no, I'm familiar with that, I know that. Question here for you. How many people actually keep a powder pharmacy in your office? All right, so only 3 or 4. So how many has the pills, herbal pharmacy in your office? Okay, half of it. Okay. So how many send prescription over to your herbal store or somewhere else? All right, okay. So not a lot of people do this, so I'm going to just go this very quick. So, and then there's for dentist and Baijiu. We all know that, you have dentist, so support spleen, and then uterine and bishop. And then the herbs treat the heat. You know what a Remington is? I'm sure you know about it. Is the root of the honeysuckle flower. You know, has been so long that I teach in some herbs, I don't even probably remember the English name very well, but that's the root of the honeysuckle flower. We know that one's called heat. So if someone has a heat, you want to modify the formula, you add Remington to it. Later on you will know why. And then another one is great is the Baijiangcao. Baijiangcao is also similar like a Remington, clear heat. If someone's swollen and red, there's a heat. When you treat, without treating pain, ask people say, hey, do you prefer to be warm or prefer to be cold? If they prefer to be cold, there's some heat. So just consider we can add those couple herbs to the formula if you customize formula. And there's Shangzhi, there's mulberry leaves, and the Shenyu Huang is you're pretty familiar with that too. And next one is the warm ones. Sometimes, you know, when the weather's cold, it hurts more, and then you know you need to modify the herbs, so you add some warm herbs there. And cinnamon is probably herb #1 in Chinese medicine, and I happen to like it because it's so safe and effective. Second one is the xixi, and third one, the first is kind of warm. So, but first top two is about easier to use. If you're not comfortable with the following 2 of them, the guizi is probably the most safest one and effective one to use. Is the cinnamon. So. It's pretty hard to go around with cinnamon, right? And for blood thisis, there's Wuxiang, there's Muyao, and there's Yongwushuo. The top one, the bottom one, the Toku Cao, that's my new favorite. My new, I mean, last 5-10 years. The gu means the bone. Is deal with wind, dampness, but also move the blood and for injuries, for sports medicine, for pain. Yeah, you should have that in your. Yeah. There's also herbs because with the qi stagnation, the xiangfu is probably one of the most common herbs to use. So all of these herbs are very, very common. Somehow they work. So just well, the huangqi, you know that, the dangui. Dangui is one of the most common herbs to treat the pain, arthritis, that kind of thing. And then the next one is the dansen. Chinese says the dansen is 1 dansen is like a 15汤 and 鸡血汤. Yeah. So we'll get this basic out of the way. So this is the recipe for the low back pain. You may not use the herbs. In my practice, I find out acupuncture is so effective for low back pain. I rarely use the herbs. But I want to share this with you. If I do, this probably can be herbs to use. Is that too quick? Are you okay? I know most of you may not. Is there any questions so far? Okay, you're great, yeah, thank you so much. So the first three herbs are the top three herbs I use for, I almost use for three of them in almost anybody who comes in the office for the pain. If I ever prescribe herbs, the first three herbs, the dangui, the jishuo, and the tokusao, I almost put every single formula in there. Okay, just one story come to my mind. There was this is Gloria story. Gloria is a lady about to retire from the city of Boston. She's about to retire, she's about to move away back to her town, to enjoy time with her grandkids. But Gloria had one problem. For 7 years, she was suffering fibromyalgia. Her whole back was hurting for 7 years. What happened was, like 7 years ago, she used to keep a shop. People keep a shop, they don't do shop anymore now. Everything is Amazon online, you click and you order, right? But back in earlier days, she had a shop. And one tragic happened was somebody robbed her and beat her. So there was a physical, and ever since then she was, her whole body back was hurting and she was taking painkillers and she was not happy. Translation, she was depressed. And she was taking painkillers. And somehow before she retired, one of her friends just somehow get her to the office. And she came to the office and I did acupuncture for somebody who has 7 years pain so long. It's not acute, so I thought, she can only come see me once a week. I said, you gotta take herbs, right? So that's the time I put herbs to use. The herbs, there was like 8 herbs inside. The top 3 is the dang. I miss a G on the dangui, can you believe that? And nobody corrected me on that. Dangui is so good because it moves the blood is also nice, but it's very gentle. It's very gentle. You don't have to worry about side effects. Lastly, earlier I was talking about hey, how to make the herbs safe, how to keep your herbs fresh, how to store the herbs, how to stay away from harsh, toxic herbs. So that's what you look at the herbs. They're simple, easy, safe, and effective to use, and you focus on that, and then that will keep you away from other things that may be dangerous. When I study things, I study them and I test them small. I test it. So I use this dangui, jishuo, and tokusao. There was a xiangfu. Later on, there's a xuegusuo. So this basically, long story short, she took herbs for about a week later. She came back. She reported 50% reduction of the pain. 50%. I said, wow, I was impressed. Wow, really. So when that happened, what do you do? I did the same thing, repeat. I did the acupuncture and then the same herbs, just another bottle of powder herbs for another week. A week later, that means 2 weeks, she come back. She says, I'm 100% pain-free now. So what do you do when somebody is that? And then I give her a third treatment, make sure, and then the third time I switch the herbs because no more pain, so I switch herbs to the ganmai dazatang. Anybody know the ganmai dazatang? I call it a happy tea, because to support the mood, because she was so depressed so long, and of course she's so happy, no more pain. I want to make sure that part get taken care of. So 3 weeks, she became symptom-free, and she became medication-free. When I sit down with patients, when they first start coming, usually that's my goal for the patient is to be symptom-free and medication-free. And I know that's just too much. People just too good to be true. Because one day I talked with Sam Annie, the one that, the 13 years low back pain. I said, Amy, when I first sat down with you, I said, we want to help you become symptom-free and medication-free. I said, what are you thinking? She said, that's ridiculous. She didn't say that at the time. She said, that's just ridiculous. So I stopped telling people that because that's too much. It's too good to be true, I learned that sometimes something you have to be true, but also have to sound true too. But you as professionals, I tell you, acupuncture can help with back pain, and you got it because you've done this all yourself all the time. But if I tell somebody who walks and say, hey, this person has low back pain 13 years, I say, hey, no, I can make your back pain free in 4 sessions. They're just about to get out of here, It's just too good to be true. So anyway, let's come back here. All right, that's modification here. We said earlier, if it's too much cold, you have grade 2 because grade 2 is warm, right? And it was, there's more dampness, add Baijiu to it. So, I mean, that's pretty easy for you. And these blood stasis, I love Wuxian and Muyao too. So that's the Wuxian and Muyao there. They smell good, it's myrrh. And the only thing is we use Wuxian and Muyao, keep the dosage smaller than others because sometimes they offset stomach a little bit. That's the only reason you want to keep it a little smaller. If it done grades 20, 30, then Wuxian you keep by 6 or, you know, at that kind of figures. So mostly is the heat, cold, or blood. All right, here comes the boring part. You know, the one thing earlier I said I learned from Doc. Okay, I couldn't believe that small intestine, the E was not there. So I said earlier I learned from Dr. Sun about how to treat low back pain. I learned 1 point from him. 1 point. That 1 point gave me so much confidence to treat low back pain. 1 point. 1. Small intestine 6. I forgot how I learned that. There may be some patients in the body industry with low back pain or something. He just get on the subject. He did demonstrate it, talk about it, and small intestine number 6. That 1 point. I said, you know, I saw that. I said, okay, I can treat low back pain now. You know, it's one thing you learn, you know, but it's another you have done it. You know, the confidence doesn't come to me because I know it. The confidence comes to me because I've done it. So that 1 point gave me the confidence to treat low back pain. About probably 22 years ago, I was still here. One day I received a phone call from a patient in Delgado. I haven't seen him in a long time. So Delgado says, hey, you know, Dr. Wang, I got this friend, he's suffering from the pain, and he's in bed. He has been in bed for 7 days. He has been in the hospital for 24 hours with a strong painkiller, and he still hurt. You know, back then I was not that busy. You know, I was busy, but not this busy. And I said, I will go. So okay, so he came in, so we drove about 1 hour, almost 1 hour to the big white 290 there. He has a ranch there, and he was the guy, I think his name's Richard. So we went there, and he was laying in his bed. And he was laying in bed, and he couldn't move. He had been in the hospital 24 hours with strong painkillers. You know, he couldn't move. So I was young. 22 years ago, I was younger. I was maybe 27. By the way, I was here 26 when I first came to Oakland to teach. So back then I was still young. So when you're young, one thing is, you got nothing to lose. You're not afraid of anything, right? Like Steve Jobs says, you know, if you want to start Apple, companies and say, all he has is just a beat up car. What he has to lose? You know, nothing. So I was not afraid. I just got there and I 10 minutes, I trained him. So I put 3 points for him. I put a 226, and you offered me with that. But that takes some courage, but I wasn't afraid of it. I just didn't need it. And then I did a small intestine 6. So I put a small intestine. The way I do it, I did exactly Dr. Sun told me, the professor Sun told me how to do it. I said, have patients' hands to be here, and I put a needle in there, one there. So, and needles there for a little while, about 20, maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes, something. Because I didn't know any better. I was no fear. I said, you know, Richard, get up. What are you going to do? And he had nothing to do. He says, okay. He was laying down, and he got up. And he got up, and he was moving around, and tears came to his eyes. All of that, I could do that because I learned that 1 point from Dr. Sun. 1 point. Here's a 1 point. It's simple, easy, but I had to be friends with his son-in-law. I had to get him to Elma to all this trouble, teaching me 1 point. Teach that 1 point, and then I can use that apply to the Richard. And he was able to do that. He was able to, and after 7 days, after 24 hours in the hospital, after strongest painkillers, didn't do anything. And that, ever since then, every time I get a chance to do something low back pain, I always use small intestine 6. And actually, I'll tell you a little funny thing, not funny, but. Anybody use this brand in DVC needles? Everybody use it? How many? Raise your hand if you use it. How many inside? 10. So I gotta use a habit, I put a 10 needles for each side for low back pain. You know, this is 3, and I just throw other ones to, because I got 10 needles, I gotta use it. Why do you laugh? I mean, don't you do the same thing? You know, I tell you, because I know the 3 needles are very likely will get people back healed, but somehow I use 10. Sometimes things are funny, you know, there's a reason people do things, there's some good, there's a real reason to do it. Because the real reason I use for 10 is I have this for 10, I'll tell you I don't raise it. The what?
I like that idea.
Yeah, it's, so, and I picture paint face up, and then I have it face down. Because, you know, everything in America, appointments are 1 hour. Because people come here, you tell them to go away 15 minutes, they're not happy about that. Because I find out that 1 hour works better than 15 minutes. So they will do one side and the other side, about 1 hour. So people are used to a 1 hour appointment in America. Why do you laugh, Gail? Don't you do that too?
I find people, well, some people prefer 30 minutes. They can't lay there for an hour.
Okay, all right, so I'll learn something today. Some people prefer 30, so now we can double the efficiency.
I think it depends on their lifestyle.
Exactly, all right, so I said earlier on, now there's more students than the teachers, so I just surprising how much you can learn. So, and also I did backside too, because for some reason I find this combination of points, you know, you don't mind go through trouble, you give people 1 hour and treat it face up, face down. It covers almost, and all the low back pain. Whether it's an herniated disc, or somebody moved furniture hurt, whether it's someone who just had pain for like 1 day, or someone has 13 years. The only difference I find out is, you know, the acute pain takes a shorter time, then 4 sessions get done, you know, and then the chronic one may take up to 12. And I know I waste some needles, I know I waste some points. It's like, there was one CEO of a company, you know, did advertising. One day the guy says, you know, you waste about 50% of your advertising budget. The CEO says, yes, I know, but I just don't know which one I'm wasting, which half I'm wasting. So I just did them all, because somehow it works out. Anybody would like to get to so we can have a little bit of demo to do this point? And well, my friend, I will come over here. You want to volunteer? Give him a hand. This is my first colleague and the first one volunteer here. I'll give him a hand. Yeah, I learned how to work in America from him. Seriously, yeah, that was it. Come over here. So I do this great, just face up. If you want to come watch, it's fine. You want to take notes, it's fine. I don't care. I'm just doing the points I was due because I think because I want one thing. When you go home the next Monday, you open your office, you might use it. Feel free to come here, sit. You know, to help me out. You want to stretch, you can, you know? We do this all the time, you do this all the time, so nothing really new, but somehow it works. Why did you volunteer to start telling me out? What do you mean by tell us about it? What? Whatever you want to tell us about it. Your back hurts a little bit?
Yeah, for years.
Yeah, I've been taught me how to work in America. When I first day in the clinic, I didn't know anything, you know, but he was there to help me out. And today he's still helping out. I'll teach you one secret in life. People help you in the past. It's going to be the same people who will help you in the future. Not the one you helped. Is that surprising? Maybe you were helped. That's how I do this morning, 6.
Does it matter if you hit the nerve or not?
Exactly.
It has to?
No, it doesn't
No,
matter.
it doesn't matter.
But it should come straight back to me, so I'm gonna have to talk to my husband about that. Yeah. Should use my
Yeah, as I said earlier, because my training mostly is focused on herbs the whole 7 years. So I don't know the advanced techniques about acupuncture, so I don't use it.
You can always call me, but that's okay.
You know, I don't have a master to teach me that.
Scroll down there. Oh, it's fine, it's fine. Well, I apologize for not. So anyway, thanks, I'll make a note.
Pretty strong stimulation.
Pretty good. Perfect talk with him. Yeah, he's a pro.
So how about needle number 10?
This is where I ask people for forgiveness. You know, please forgive me about this one here. Because it does make the tear come to the eyes. And you have to tell people about that, because when you tell people about that, tear comes to the eyes, oh, you know, he's right. And there's another thing is, I need to tell patients is, you know, I mean, there's a 50% chance, about a very high chance, this 3 fingers will become tingly and numb towards the end of 20, 30 minutes. So the chance is very high. So if I tell him about it, he says, wow, he's right. If I don't have to worry about it, you know.
Why do you suppose that happens?
I have no clue, just maybe the position.
Yeah.
Once
Just
it
hold
goes
it in
out.
a position for a
I
while.
learned from the Dr. Swami, he says, you know, the small intestine, this is a good position, once it's opened up. Other place, you do have to exercise. So you put somebody put their hands in here, the needle cannot reach the points.
You want the hands here.
Yes, I want the hands to be there. Yeah, if I could, I'd leave them there about 20, maybe 30 minutes. Yeah. So, do you mind if you take a break here, and we'll take about 10 minutes break? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's good.
Is your rest? All right, so let's take about 10 minutes break. Thank you so much. So, great question. Do I do any stimulation during those 30 minutes? Yeah, usually if I could, I'll leave them there about 30 minutes. One thing, what happens is the fingers, 3 fingers, very likely 50% chance, that's a very high chance to become numb, become tingly and numb. So I usually remember to tell patients about it, and then they won't worry about it. They say, well, what happened? You know, they don't worry about it. So the question is, do I do any stimulations during those 30 minutes? I hope you don't get disappointed. My answer is no. Yeah, 'cause,
You did pretty strong at the beginning.
okay, thank you for that comment, observation, yeah. So, as I said, I do not have advanced acupuncture techniques, because I know there were, you know, if I go back China today, I probably learn from those masters. They know how to sedate, they know how to tonify, they know how to do all kinds of things, because those things are real. And I just realized that the little things I know about acupuncture still works. I said, wow, there's so much more about this acupuncture. It's just the I'm a pretty simple guy. I say I'm looking for results. That I like the title, effectively treating. That's because that the effectiveness. That's my focus. So I'm not. Maybe someday I will learn about how to do that. If I find a teacher, we need to teach me. Great question. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other? So you're all practicing in Austin besides Lupe in San Antonio? You're in San Antonio, right?
San
sir?
Antonio, yes, sir.
What's your practice name?
Integrative Wellness Clinic,
That's a great name. So you've been there, what, how long have you been there? 15 or 17 or what? How many years? 20?
almost 19. And you look the same, but what happened? What's the secret?
Well, I appreciate your encouragement. Thank you, Lupe. Yeah, yeah. So he's a model, so we'll all learn from him, you know. Yeah, thank you. So anybody else from San Antonio or just Lupe?
I lived there for
Oh,
5 years.
Okay, you're 5 years, you're from San Antonio?
Yeah.
You know him?
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you're the only 2 acupuncturists in the town now, it's now there's a lot more.
A lot more.
Because you're one of the few early ones, right?
you remember Scott?
Scott Taylor, yeah.
And then Ernie,
Ernie, three of you first.
they're my classmates, so
Yeah,
we're all still happy together. But friends, not together office, but together friends.
okay, that's great.
We
Thank you.
drink beer.
You practice full-time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you treat a lot of low back pain too?
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna try SI6 before I use number 3.
3, so that'll work too, right?
It works, but I'm gonna try 6
Yeah,
now.
give it a try.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah, good. I learned that from Professor Sun, I always remember him for that. Yeah, you're
I'll
from
remember.
Austin, what's your name, sir?
Van, I'm from Houston.
Houston?
Yes,
Wow, you drove here, Houston for this?
yes, this morning.
Why did you come back?
Wow.
Because, well, if I go here, I support TAAOM as well. That's why, another reason.
Who's from TAOM, who's the one? Wally?
Van's on the board.
Wow. Why do you support him other than the team? Well,
It's a long story, but I support my other school too, of course. Yeah.
all right,
It's back and forth.
we appreciate you, that's good, yeah, thank you. Anybody else from Houston? You're the only one, next time you should bring 5 people, more people here.
Next time.
Do next time, yeah. So usually if I could, I'll leave there about 30 minutes, so Lester has been about, how long has it been? He was in there, what? Almost close 15, 20 minutes?
17 minutes.
17 minutes. What did you do before acupuncture?
Everything.
Everything. You're precise. So you're the official officer keeping on time today.
Okay, I will.
Thank you so much, 17 minutes. So
As long
let's,
as we're at it, can we move the microphone away from the?
oh yes, without permission from Paul.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. See?
See?
Yeah. You'd be surprised what people, yeah. So any other questions about low back pain?
Every crowd.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you use the TDP lamp?
So Ivan, a question. Do I use a TDP lamp? I have lamp in every room, and I use that just as a heater.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the winter comes for the comfort, people love for the comfort. So I don't use it for any other medical purpose. Maybe there is something, I just usually don't use it.
I have the infrared mat on the table and people really love it. It's a biomat, has infrared heating source underneath and it penetrates the body like up to 6 inches. It's really good.
Great, yeah. That's a good question, because in the way I practice there, I try to keep as simple as I can be. By that I mean as simple as I can be. So I rarely do anything extra, like say cupping, or like I rarely do anything just because of the way I practice. So I want to keep it as simple, so that way I don't have to. Because when I do too many things, I get distracted. I wouldn't be consistency will be so. Usually I will say, I'm there, to treat it. I need to rest. I was just like probably like you, just got another room, treat another patient. While he's resting, he enjoys the time, his music, and I do have I got one of the best suggestions from patients, and her name Gretchen. Her name is Gretchen. She said, why don't you have a bell, a call bell? A call bell put in the room. So I searched for the call bell. I thought it would be very complicated device, anything like that. I found I went to the Office Depot. I paid $5 a call bell. 20 years ago. I'm still good at like a new. Okay, how many people put a bell by finger of your patients? Okay, so so Jimmy, you do that?
It's not an actual, it's just a call receiver.
Okay. Why do you do that?
So the patients feel like they're secure and if they need help, they can push the button.
Thank you. Who else use it? Why do you use it?
Yeah, same reason. They might get uncomfortable and you wouldn't realize they're in there having to go to the bathroom or, if number one thing is if they sit there and have to go to the bathroom, they're uncomfortable and then they're tense.
Okay. So why do you use it then?
They're actually more relaxed with it in their finger. And then
they don't really press it that often at all because they know it's there.
How often a week, how often you hear that thing, that bell, how often?
Probably 2 or 3 times.
A week?
And they're all really reasonable reason, like the heat lamp's too hot, or too cold, or feeling numb, like you said before, then explain a little bit and set up.
So that's for patients. What does it for you? You have a bell there. What does it make you feel? What's the benefit to you besides the patients?
It makes me less worried because I know that notification will tell me. So instead of me going to the other room and wondering what he's feeling, so I just put it on the side. But when it rings, then I just come in. So it makes me feel less tense for myself too.
How much less tense for you? You know, you don't have a bell. You feel tense. You know, you increase 10%, 20%. Maybe worry. How much will be?
Probably like more than 50%. I feel just much more relaxed when I have the bell there and I just go the other room.
So somehow if I took a bell, would not allow you, your stress will go up 50%.
Not exactly.
Okay, but you have the bell, you just 50% just more relaxed. Have that
Yeah,
bell there.
it's like extra relaxed.
Extra relaxed.
Rather than I'm tense all the time, I'm just extra relaxed.
What kind of bell do you use?
It's a Bluetooth one. Not Bluetooth, but the infrared. I think they use it's like a receiver. You press here.
You press here, what happens?
And then there's a receiver at the front desk. It will
Yes.
play music, ding 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 ding, and then you know what room is it.
Oh, you will know exactly which room is that?
Yeah.
And you will,
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other patient don't know anything to ring the bell.
so there's nobody, nobody else have the bell, just the front see the light and just go there, check it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Where did you buy it?
Amazon.
Amazon, everything
It's
Amazon.
like $15.
15 for per room, 15 for whole
15
office.
for 2 receivers.
2 receivers.
Yeah. It's like a red button and a blue button.
Okay. All right, thank you. So anybody else use that same thing?
I want
Similar.
You use
Mine
the
is
same thing?
Similar, it's a doorbell really.
Okay,
It has a plug-in, you
Yes.
plug it into the wall, I
Yes.
plug it into the hallway.
yes.
I have one for one room that makes one
Yes.
sound, you can
Yes.
adjust the different noises it makes,
Okay.
and the other one makes a different noise.
So what does that make you feel, you know?
I can concentrate more on the other person. When I'm in the other room, then I can only think about this person, I don't have to keep thinking about the other person. Because you can focus on one person at a time as long as you know, oh, if they need me, they'll hit the bell.
Thank you. So Jimmy, what does that for you? What did you have what's the benefit you receive?
Oh, it's just knowing which person needs your help specifically.
Okay, all right.
So you can service them faster.
Okay, you know, I thought I was so far ahead. You know, it's like I'm so behind. I thought I was the first one. I was ahead. I still use a bell, and people ring the bell. You know, I said, which room is it? You know, isn't that life funny right now? I'm so behind. I thought I was the first. I've done this 20 years. I missed a new technology, a new benefit. You know, again, this is the second thing so far. I tell you, I learned.
They have one with the watch now that I used at another clinic I worked at, so you give them the buzzer in the room and then it rings on the watch.
Wow. Okay.
It's really awesome.
All right.
I've used it at 2 different clinics.
Tell us a little more about it. What is it?
I don't remember the name, but I can send it to Leslie and she could send it out if people are interested. I'd have to look it up. I forget what the name brand is, but you can buy it on Amazon. Scott uses it in San Antonio and then another place out here uses it.
You know, this business of healing people is all about the focus, the caring, to be present, to be there. And it's about the confidence, the confidence we have. I mean, we will transfer the confidence to patients. Can you imagine you're so confident, you tell patients, you know, Ivan, you do this for 4 sessions, your back pain is going to be totally healed, and you make a prediction ahead of time. You know, Ivan, you'll feel like 25% better after 1 session, you know. And after 2, you're probably 40 or 50%, and after 3, you'll be 75. When Ivan done with the first session, if that happened to be true, Ivan says, wow, I got to come back to this guy, you know. 4 sessions, my back pain would be gone. It would cost me money, but hey, you know, I was money in many places, other places, might as well get healed. So that little tool, Randy and Jimmy and Rudy use it to increase our present focus and confidence. And that alone can increase your efficiency at least 5%, if not more. Does it make your efficiency 5% or more, at least 5%? Maybe 5% more confidence? A lot more. So who does not use anything like that at all? So Lippy, you don't use it? You don't use it? What do you use?
They just yell.
They just yell, you like that style, okay. I mean,
You know what's interesting?
yes,
I just use my intuition. I know it sounds woo-woo, but I only treat 2 people at a time in a couple rooms. And I just kind of tune in, and it always seems to work for me.
wonderful. So, if Amazon sell your intuition, we'll buy it. Great, so anybody else doesn't use anything, then,
But I only treat 1 room at a time.
okay, all right, you don't need it.
No.
Okay, all right,
I'm like Gail, most of mine are trained.
okay,
You know, they know I'm gonna be gone a certain amount of time and I'll be back.
great. So you have your own systems, yeah. So if that's seems available, it does help as I said, make a patient relax. When they're more relaxed, the results somehow get even better. You know, it's kind of strange. So, well, thank you for sharing that. That thing is, I think we are going to look at it. So probably equip our office with those things to talk about it. So that would be safe.
How many receivers can you have?
Yeah, Dr. Ma, yes, go ahead.
How many you can have? How
I
many?
just use 2 rooms. I have 4, but I have other practitioners in my center, so I just use 2. I only use 2 rooms at a time. To me, that's enough.
So how many do you use? How many receivers?
But I have 3 rooms, so I use 3 receivers. It's this one right here.
You can order as many as you want.
Huh?
How many can you order for per set? You can order, not only 6.
How many more? Oh, well, per receiver, this one, there's 2 call buttons per receiver. So I end up having 2 receiver, which is 4 buttons, but only use 3
That one we
buttons.
have 8 rooms.
On the watch.
No, the receiver, the call button is in the room, but the receiver is outside.
Yeah, we had 7.
Yeah,
On the
Even
watch,
if
you
you
can
have
have
8
as many
rooms,
as
you
you
can
want.
still use this, right?
Yes.
amazing thing about the technology is not limited by the rooms. You have 2 rooms, they'll sell you 2-room solutions. You have 5 rooms, they'll sell you 5-room solutions. I think the solution is there. We just need to have you looking for it. You know, whether it doesn't matter, is it 6 rooms or 2 or 1, or if you look at, it's there.
I found the watch, if anybody's interested, it's called SingCall, SINGCALL, wireless calling system, and I've used it in places with up to 7. That has
7.
rooms. And the one I have at a different place is 5, so you can add as many. I think it comes with 4 or 5, and then you can add extras.
Yeah. Yeah.
SINGCALL, SingCall wireless calling system. And it's a watch. On Amazon, it's $130.
Okay.
But you can probably find it all, you know, there's probably all different types of it, that's just the one that I've used.
So Ruby is what?
2 minutes.
Can't believe it. Acupuncture is so precise. 2 more minutes.
You could probably take.
Can you help me out 2 minutes? Take it out for me?
Okay.
Because she's a trusted. She did watch
You
time.
have 2 minutes, so how do you keep the time? I just have a stopwatch on clock for each room, so do you have any better way to keep a clue? Because you have many rooms, do you have another way to check every room just in one box, in one screen? To know the time of every single room, you have one screen to show me. So for example, if you have many rooms, I don't have to walk around for every room to check the time. So do we have any other system to keep time?
Relaxation comes in, I know, like, the bigger room, basically.
But that's for example, if Dharma has 8 rooms, so how you don't have to walk around 8 rooms to check the time.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, Dr. Mark keeps saying I have 8 rooms. I used to have 8 rooms, and now actually in our office we have more than 1 doctor here. We have actually 4 doctors working in 5. You know, we have 10 rooms. You know, sometimes I use up to 5 and maybe even 6 rooms myself. So not 8, but you know. So.
I can answer that question.
Yes.
I'll tell you the answer tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow. You know the answer for TV. All right, great. All right, so here I have answered that. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah. Well, this. So once she's taken out, we're going to have him turn over and work on the other side. Just do this, then this, and we'll keep on talking next one. Yeah, that's always a challenge, to keep how to keep it, not too long, not too short, and time management is, and he probably getting time to the seconds, not to the minutes. I time my time to the minutes, and because every minute is, to me, in my practice, every minute to me is counts, because I don't have extra minutes to distract me. And he probably down to the seconds. Now, he will tell you tomorrow, so I'm not giving his secret, I don't know what his secret is. All right. Thank you so much. Yes. So, how do you feel so far, Evan?
Pretty good.
Thank you, yeah. Leslie says it's the
Feels a
same.
lot longer than 30 minutes.
How long do you feel it is?
It's like 45 minutes.
Okay. 45 minutes, that's how he feels.
Yeah.
Feeling does not track time as well as a watch. Ruby's watch track time better than Ivan's feeling, but he felt like 45 minutes. Were you comfortable? Because we didn't leave you alone.
Yeah, no, it's been going.
Oh, great. So can you do me a favor? If you do us a favor, take off your shoes off and your socks off and have you turn over face down?
Sure.
Yeah. You didn't know you were here to get a relaxation nap, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ruby, for that. So this part is a little slow, but I want to get this is a perfect visual aid to see it. To see it. This is so simple. It's like 1 + 1. How many is that? Got 2. One side is so simple. The other side is predictable. Would you like to have a predictable results?
Do you always do the face up first?
Depends. Depends. Some people prefer, those beautiful ladies. They want to say, I want to when I leave the office, I don't want any wrinkles on my face. I want to get it done first. Does that happen to you? No?
I would do face down first because it's more restful.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good, yeah. He's so relaxed. I told him to take his shoes off, socks off, and he did even more than that. Well, we have friends, they're helping, Did I say earlier, somebody helped you in the past, they can help you in the future. That's not gonna change. It's more dependable than the people you help. Anybody comments on that?
I agree.
Tell us a story. Well, do you want to? I'll just do this because you had other points, so you don't have to come over here. So tell us, why do you agree? Give us a story.
Just from experience.
Tell a story.
I can't think of anything specific.
Make up one.
Make up one.
He's going to get a personal though. Tell us a story.
Let me think a few minutes.
No, you only have 3 minutes to tell. Yeah, you can tell. Go ahead. Now you have been a teacher before. You teach, what story you want to share? Have any classmates of yours help you, from here, from Elma?
Well, like Ernie's a good example.
Yeah, tell about his story.
No, he's always been there from the beginning. He helped me out when I was a first comer to AOMA.
How did he help
And
you?
he still reaches out and helps me now, so that's a good
How did he
example.
help you at first?
I'm sorry?
How did he help you at first?
By lending me books and showing me around the school.
So,
And he didn't even know me before that, so that was really nice.
So wow.
And then, to this day, we always get together and see how we can help each other.
So he was Andrew, around you. Still is. So this side is face down. So face down is not quite as comfortable to most of people. So I don't keep as long as like 30 minutes. I'll do probably 15 minutes. So maybe if you can help us track our 15 minutes.
Okay.
Can you believe that? Some people were, timing that way because they asked me to how wide is the door? Asking me, I said, 6 feet. And she was saying 5.55. That's a gift. That's a talent, right? You couldn't help. That's the way it is. You have to watch it. Okay. Even no question, we're going to go next one.
Did you just visually know where his L2 too, I see you didn't measure anything, you just went, oh, it's right there. Do you see the energy and you know it's right there, or you just recognize the landmarks, or you just do it all the time, so you just,
You know, sometimes I do things I don't even know why I do it.
you just
It's,
saw it, you just saw the
yeah.
energy.
Yeah, it just, exactly, as I said, I've probably done this, I don't know, 5,000 times or something, so it's, am I always accurate? Probably not, but somehow it works, so, yeah. Good observation, yeah, thank you, Ruby. Any other questions? If not, we go next one. So frozen shoulder is not as common as low back pain at all, but is there. Because luckily in Texas, we're here in Texas, it's a warm, wasn't like a cold as some other places. Frozen shoulder is also called a 50 shoulder, because you know that, and also the reason why, 20 years old don't get that, but 50 years old get it. Why 30 years old don't get it, but 50 years old get it. And just the fact of it, there's happened around the 50, sometimes they may have some little injury, something causes, sometimes just, people sleep at night and not cover their shoulder, sometimes they do everything perfect, but still happens. So it happens. So the Chinese medicine, think about that is, as you know, is based mostly, it's a deficiency of blood, of the energy of the qi and blood deficiency. And we know, as you know, that blood and qi is from stomach, spleen stomach. So we got to support the qi to help the shoulder. I didn't learn from this one from any person in person. So sometimes we learn from other ones through books. And actually, this one here, I have to thank Dr. Ma about this one. You know why? He told me about one master Chinese acupuncturist, Dr. Heparin. Yeah, he's one of his favorite ones. The Heparin. By the way, well, Dr. Ma studied acupuncture 5 years in the school of Heilongjiang University before I even got there. So, but then got there, we studied together. Just a little story there. So he told me about a Heparin. And many years, I didn't do anything. They tell me about it. Sometimes you're lucky, you hear anything, you don't do anything about it. And one day I was, somehow I got a hold of a few books of this professor. And the guy wrote about at least 10 books of acupuncture. And you read his book, it's totally different from your textbook. Totally different. This might, there are a lot of books to buy. How I buy Chinese medicine book when I go to China, if anybody dare to put a name on a book, like say, Rochelle's acupuncture experience, something. If you put your name on a book, I'll buy it. And I don't buy big ones, I buy usually small ones. I find out small ones somehow, there's more content, more useful ideas inside. So as I was getting a little busy, I found how can I become a little more effective, better results, and it doesn't take forever to do the treatment. And then, so this Dr. Heparin, he didn't go to school. He was an apprentice on, when he was young, he was went to apprentice with an acupuncturist in China. Beijing is one of the not the most rich place. One thing you find out is most of the famous Chinese doctors, nowadays in the past, they all grew up, practiced in poor area. Not a very poor, but it's just poor enough, have a lot of people live there. And when people don't have a lot, they're not as super wealthy, they're not as picky as they would be, and they have more health needs. And if you help them with one thing, they tell their friends, they have lots of friends, and they bring them all to you. And as a result, you get more experience. You get more, that's one of the things for him. So Dr. Heparin now probably he's 90 now, I don't know. When he was 87, the CCTV, Chinese Central Television, or something like that, did an interview about him. And he was putting the needle, they put a thread in the needle. His vision was that good. And he treated like probably 100 patients, maybe even more a day. So he has to be very effective. So basically, the short story I learned from, I read his book. I said, what does he do for for 10 days? So one thing I learned from it is about a frozen shoulder. Well, this is the formula first. Well, since we're talking about acupuncture, let's do that first. I found out he used only 1, maybe 2 points. 1 or 2 points. The first one he used stomach 38. And we all knew that. I mean, did you learn that from school?
Mhm.
You didn't learn it? Who else learned from it? Raise up your hand, you know this one for shoulder pain. Who hasn't learned it, for shoulder pain? Raise up your hand. All right. My question is, how many of you use this single point for shoulder pain? Single, just no other points.
At the beginning of the treatment, I'll do that first, and have them raise their arm,
Yes.
and see if it's usually different. Because I'll have them raise their arm before I put the needle in, oh, they can only raise it to here.
So
And
Ruby,
put
come
the
over
needle
here.
in.
Come here, share your experience. Yeah, 'cause,
Okay.
yeah. But this
Well,
is, yeah.
actually, this experience was from, I think Dr. Chen told us to do this. You put the needle in, before you put the needle in, lay them on the table, have them raise their arm and see what kind of range of motion they have. And Dr. Chen, okay, you can only lift that way, okay. Put the needle in and then ask them on the opposite leg, ask them to raise it again and then, a little better. So, Dr. Chen told me. So I do that every single time, first thing. But then I treat
And then,
other
and then what else
neighbors.
do you do?
And then I usually do large intestine 10 on each side and REM 24. And then Master Tong's points penetrating back and kidney and kidney gate.
So for other things, of shoulder pain too.
For shoulder pain.
Shoulder
Oh, no, sorry, those are for low back pain. For shoulder pain, I usually do the 9 needles on the shoulder, local area.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. Yeah, yes. Anybody else use number 38 used for shoulder pain? Yeah, so,
Oh, no,
Karen,
not singly,
the what?
not singly, not alone.
Not alone, okay, but you use it? Okay,
I start with it, just like she does, I get them to do the mobility and.
yes,
And they go, oh, how did that happen?
Right, that gives them that confidence that,
yes.
oh, this might help.
Yeah.
Well, then, need help, yeah.
Oh, that happened.
It already
Great.
feels good.
Any comments from it? Yeah. So Dr. Herpren, he was saying something, that most of the time the challenge we have, because I know I have the challenges, is sometimes we don't have enough confidence, so we will put a lot of needles there, like I did the low back pain, I put a 10-10, but somehow it works for me, I stay with it. And he said sometimes it doesn't need that many. And he says he just uses one for the shoulder pain for 30 minutes there. Well, he can do it because he's a master. He has a lot of people who come to see him. His confidence is, no problem. And people, because in America it's different from China. In America, the China discipline is, I don't know about now, but in old days in China, when I was in China, I mean, you can get acupuncture, go to get a treatment for maybe $1. Maybe $1, maybe $2, I don't know. It's a very, very, very small fee. So the doctor don't feel like, I have to give you enough time to justify the money you pay me. So he doesn't care about that part.
One needle.
The what?
$1 a needle.
Yeah, he just for the results. So he has no, because sometimes if the people come here, you put one needle there, and 30 minutes, you say, all right, this is $200 or whatever it is. And things, somehow they feel you have to do more for them. And other times, they say, well, I don't know what you're laughing about. Tell us about it. And yeah, share, yeah.
No, I just laughed at your comment that sometimes they feel you have to do more when you know that if you do that, that's it.
I mean, isn't that true? Sometimes we feel we have to do more just to be, See, he did not have that problem. So he just do 1 point at 30 minutes, and then, people leave and come back the next day, next time, and then do it again, 1 needle, 30 minutes. And how long does it take you put one needle in there? How long does it take you to put in one needle? 1 minute, whole thing, or how long does it take you? Because however how long it takes you, I know he's faster. So another thing is I have that challenge myself, we don't feel, is 1 needle is enough? We have to do more, just make people feel, so if you do 1 needle, great, but if you don't, at least that's your first one there stay 30 minutes, and usually it works. Last couple of weeks ago, I got a patient, Mary, had a shoulder pain for a few months, and she was worried, she couldn't move it. And I think I did this 1 point, small intestine, 19, is that right? And stomach 38. I did like it. I was not too. I did a few, like 4 or 5 more, and then later she was getting better. Well, I think I'm lucky because I find that books, I buy those books, it costs me free. I'm not saying this make you mad, okay? Because a Chinese medical book, it costs about $3, $5, $6, even today, maybe $10. And they tell you everything they know about the whole life, 50 years. I'm not saying this make you mad, but I'm just saying, tell you this is how I learned what I learned today.
Here's a new business for you to start translating them.
What did you say?
I said new business for you to start translating them.
Well, you have a partner, well, you know, because it's easy for me to get from Chinese to English, somebody has to polish, you know, to get it across. It's that's a skill, I'll just tell you what it is, what it is, how I got it, so that maybe somebody will say, hey, maybe you have somebody with you, whatever, yeah. So this small intestine, is also from this Dr. Hooper, yeah. Because I learned from them, but I tried, I use it. And I learn, I know it's theirs. If I do it, I got it. If I do it, I see the results, I got it. Let's go back to the herbs. Use herbal medicine to treat the pain is, we know not only is we have to say is deficient, or is a stasis, or is pathogenic. And sometimes Chinese medicine, different herbs goes to a different place. Like the shoulder pain has shoulder herbs, low back has low back herbs, knee has knee herbs, you know, the neck, the head has head. We got a channel orientation, right? Because we are all familiar with that. So when you see that, is all the pain same pain, why do you use different formula? By the way, this formula, none of these things I talked about is mine. None of them are mine, because I'm only practiced for 30 years. So I learned from somebody. Do that one thing specialized for 50 years? Can you imagine somebody do that for 50 years? You gotta be better than mine. You know, I only did 30 years for a bunch of different things, right? So this is one I learned from another one, and he opened a hospital for arthritis. I can't believe that he wrote down his formula. He said, "This is what I use for this kind of things." So what I'm saying is there is a rich resource for you if you want to know. There's the Chinese medicine, the knowledge bodies, the doctors, they're willing to share. Do you know why they're willing to share? Because by the time they're 80 years old, they can't take them with them. And if they want to teach somebody has to be willing to learn. And you know how long it takes to learn Chinese medicine. It takes a long time. If you just want to let people know about it, they still couldn't get it. You want to give them, they're still difficult. So that's why they share in the books. As many people they can get it, they can get it. You know? Back to the Dr. Swin, the professor I was learning from, the small intestine 6 for low back pain. I learned about it. I've got a WeChat. Something says that Dr. Swin, he put $1 million Chinese money to set a foundation, a fund for scholarship to encourage young people to learn Chinese medicine. 1 million. For an 80 years old man to put up 1 million Chinese money, that's a lot of money. That's about 150, 160, maybe $170,000. I mean, not a lot of money in America, but for a Chinese medicine doctor, that's a lot of money. So he not only teaches, he gives seminars, he teaches, training young people, he also puts money there. So what I'm saying is that there are a lot of doctors, they want to teach this to the next generation, to people who want willing to learn. The most people who indebted, they have done this their whole life. And they know how hard it is to get that knowledge. It's not easy. It takes them lifetime to learn, somebody willing to teach them. So that's why they are willing to. When those people write the books, they will tell you as it is. Because when you're 80 years old, you're not for fame. Are you going for fame for 80 years old? It's too late, right? And they're not for money, because they just want people to share that, because this works. Ruby, can you help me out? Yeah. How long is it?
15 minutes.
Don't you love her for that? Give her a hand. Yeah, thank you. How about giving that up? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So that's why, because those people help me so much. So that's why I have something, learn from them, I can share. Since if I'm in China, I probably listen to them more since I'm far away. So I just learn from those people from the books. And there are hundreds of those things. Somebody spent 50 years how to treat fertility. Somebody spent 50 years for how to treat insomnia, depression. Nowadays, a lot of people are depressed here in America, and then there are easy ways to really works. This is how I define easy. I don't know how you define easy. If something I can do, to me that's easy. If I cannot do it, then that's not easy. So, does it make sense to you? Any questions? Any comments? So Evan, take your time, yeah. You haven't missed anything, but listen here. Okay, so for the modification, there's blood stasis, goes to Wuxian Moya, because that's pretty simple. For the ones who you do prescribe herbs, that's what it is. I always mess up something. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. For the too much cold, Xixi, because Xixi is some people maybe not comfortable with it because it's Chinese says you only use a very small dosage. If that's how you feel, use small dosage. That'd be fine. And the Rendong tent, we studied that earlier. That was for the root of the honeysuckle flower. You clear the heat. If somebody does heat, you modify that. If there's spasm pain, the Baisao, you're all familiar with Baisao, right? Because we all know it's great for pain, spasm, and muscle pain, cramps, leg cramps, that kind of thing. In the rare case, somebody is very deficient, you add Huang Qi to help the Qi to help you. It's a miracle. All right, so who would like to ask Ivan something? Do you need to go to the bathroom first?
Are
you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, so now tell us a story. Besides you're willing to help me out, I appreciate that. So can you tell us a little about yourself and treatment?
Well, normally I've had low back pain, and it's bothered me for years, basically. It goes through its acute phase or its chronic phase. Normally chronic is just kind of sore and achy, and when it goes into an acute phase, it can be very debilitating, like stabbing. It feels like somebody stuck you with an ice pick. So right now I feel pretty good. Even if I palpate this area, spine is a little bit sore, but not so bad. So I would say probably at least 40, 50% pain relief with just this treatment today. Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe I need to come in for a few more treatments. And it's hard to do. It's hard to do acupuncture on your back yourself. I've done it. But you kind of look in the mirror and you're trying to do this, and then actually sometimes you can be in even worse shape than you started.
That makes sense, yeah. So now, would anybody would be confident, willing to, so if somebody comes to your office with back pain, would you be willing to just use this 10 points, just give it a try? Who would like to, willing to, just, somebody walking? How many do, keep your hand if you're willing to. Okay, yeah, well, thank you, because I want to, this is very simple, very easy, it's very, first grade. Somehow it does give people results, and patients come to you, basically come here one thing. I remember my patients 20 years ago, Marsha, he tells me one thing. Every time he comes in, he reminds me, he says, heal me, don't hurt me, heal me, don't hurt me, heal me, don't hurt me. So if this is simple, it's a first grade, but help him to relieve the pain, even one session for short term, even, close to 40%, that's to him is help. And if I would continue to get sessions like this for about 10, 12 sessions, the pain very likely to be gone. The reason why I said it is it remind me of the story that there's a Michael, a patient. One time his son was attending school here. His father also, Mike has a back pain and he was about to do surgery. But his son is so into this Chinese medicine, don't like medication, don't like surgery. That's his personal thing. He said, Daddy, you got to try this. Somehow he grabbed his father, in hernia disc, instead of go to surgery, he grabbed him into the acupuncture. So he did come for acupuncture. He did about 12 sessions. About like this treatment. Do you remember I learned this about 20 years ago? So I had a chance to practice 20 years. So that Mike, until this day, his back is still good. And he been coming for other things. So what happens inside when there's a hernia disc, anything like that? People asking what happens inside. I have no clue, because one thing I have to confession I have to make. I learned the medicine so long, but I know very little about Western medicine. Very little. You don't even hear a medication name from my mouth, because I don't know how to pronounce it. And I don't. If I want to study, I probably couldn't learn the medical terminology and couldn't learn the names of the thing is. I mean, I have a testimony stories book in which people write down what medication they take. I don't know how to pronounce them. I know very few medications. That's how I just got to be able to operate the way without knowing those things. So what happens inside to the back, I don't know. But I know after you treated about 1,000 patients for low back pain, I know this can be long-term results. Can be back pain stay free for a long time. Any other comments? So tell us. If you don't, that's okay too. So he is, to me, he's so helpful to me. Let me give him a heart and give him a hand. Yeah. Thank you so much.
My friend.
Yeah, because I want to, this is not just a theory, a lot of theory, because I don't know a lot of theory. I don't want just to say this, even just one thing. If you, this is 1 year, you apply this one thing. What happened is, Linda yesterday came to my office. She hasn't been seeing me for 9 years. And she says, I said, how did you find me? She said, I kept your card, business card, for 9 years. In my up drawer, I don't know what drawer it is, 9 years. I say a lot of people don't want to find me, couldn't find me because they don't know how to spell my name, because my name is Chinese. It wasn't like a John something, John Smith or something. So I said, I was impressed. How did you keep my card? He said, I put it there. I said, I'm impressed that you remember my name. She said, your name is worth remembering. I said, wow, that's encouraging to me. I received that. And she said, 9 years ago, she was having acute low back pain. Her back was hurting. The following day, she said, 2 different friends told her about me. I said, that's a sign, And she came in. She did acupuncture. I said, how many did last time? She said, I did 3 sessions, low back pain. And she came back yesterday for her knee. Her knee was hurting. She was have a grandbaby. She was going to have so much fun. Forgot it. I did her 3 weeks. Oh, knee hurt. And she walked in, and I did the treatment later. We'll talk about it. And by the time she's done, she felt like 80% better. So when you treat this low back pain, putting it into practice, people will come back to you 9 years later. And they may refer some people to you. And also, I learned from Dr. Sun that at one point, my confidence in treating low back pain from here, from almost 0 to here. Because before that, I didn't have any experience like that. So, thank you for that, for the demo, because I think everybody see you, and then they will. It's easier. Somehow the eyes has much more memory than the ears. I don't know why. Is that to you too? Because if you see something and you do, it's so I appreciate you letting me and having helped me and just go the way it is. We may not cover a lot, but we will something we can use. All right, now back for the shoulder pain. Any questions you want to ask?
When you mentioned the low back pain, you said you estimated 8 times for most back pain, 8 visits. Do you have any projection for the frozen shoulder? How many visits typical?
That's a good question. For low back pain, I can predict. For the shoulder pain, I do not have 1,000 cases. This because you see the frozen shoulder pain is not as common as low back pain at all. So if I have to estimate, I'd probably say 8. Yeah, the few cases I treated about 8.
And then also for the 2 points that you have listed, the stomach 38, I know is like the magic point no one knows. It's not like directly, mirror image or anything. But what about small intestine 19? Why is that? Is that just through experience or?
I learned from the Dr. Ma told me about it, Dr. Hofer, he used it. This is the thing is, sometimes in the life, you have to trust people. You have to trust people, and you have to, because I've been this Chinese medicine so long enough, I know who I could trust. That I've used my own judgment. When the doctor says, you treat this one for 500 ml for the pain, I look at the formula, I read everything about it, maybe I could trust and I could give it a try.
So it doesn't have any relation to the blood or the deficiencies, it's just that one works.
Pretty much like that. Yeah, because even Oscar herbs, I can give you all the threes, but when you have acupuncture, I just pick the one, the pro that works. It's
That's a good answer.
he would explain very well to you why that one helps that one, because why exactly, what you started waiting for he would tell us everything about it. But when you learn from somebody else, I don't get that all of us trip to me. But there must be a reason why. Thank you. Okay. If you don't mind, let's take about 10 minutes break and we'll come back. How was it? This is my best friend, at least for today.
Well, I give him a good kind of,
Yes, go ahead. Tell your whole story about your back.
okay. So, I think it was like 1987, the first time I really remember having low back pain. And what had happened was, I had a piece of concrete in my truck that probably weighed 500 pounds. Yeah, and maybe not quite that much, but it felt like it. And I have a friend who's at least 3 times as big as me. So I figured we're just gonna pick this thing up and put it down on the ground. So we got it up, and started moving it like this, and we had to take it like, twice as far as this wall or something like that. And I said, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, oh yeah, you can do it, you can do it. And so I'm like, okay. And we kind of like took this thing and probably moved it, another 50 feet or something like that before we had to put it down. I thought, wow, okay, well, we did that. The next day, I woke up and I was in like such pain. And it lasted probably for a week or 2, and then gradually went away. And I didn't have back pain for years after that. What I think really stimulated it was the stagnation condition of sitting in acupuncture school for 5 years on these hard metal chairs. And I started to notice I'm having low back pain from sitting there every day, And what seemed to, really help is going skiing, moving and such, and kind of breaking up that stagnation, because whenever you move, you break up a stagnation condition. So, then it kind of got progressively worse, and then every now and then I'd have an episode of an acute phase where it was similar to where after I lifted that huge piece of concrete. So I finally went in and had an MRI and X-ray and such, and was diagnosed as having a herniated disc. So every time I get under more stress or pressure or doing a lot of bending or excessive work where you're kind of aggravating that disc, it swells up, presses on those little facets and the nerves coming out of there, thereby, your brain saying you're having pain. So after the treatment today now, I had pain this morning, not severe, but it's not in an acute phase. But I would say I'm probably about 40% better than I kind of woke up this morning. Yeah. Of course, I do yoga all the time too, and all that, activity really helps to kind of break up the stagnation. So, of course, I need to take the time to go and have more acupuncture treatments. I probably feel. But everybody here, I'm sure knows that when you're busy, it's really hard to take the time to actually go and take care of yourself. So, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
So you said 1987, that's the first time you said? Yeah, so that's what, how long has it been there? 31 years.
Yeah.
It takes it, please, so basically, I mean, there are a lot of people outside there, the back is hurting, they are waiting for you to heal. Because if you don't, there are very, very few professional people can help them heal. In 31 years, I'm sure, one time or another, he wants to say, no, I want to get this fixed. Sometimes when there's a X-rays, MRIs, there's a herniated disc, because sometimes in people's mind, they say, there's no way this can be fixed unless they want to, physically, surgically do something. And that's a lot of people in their head. And a lot of people ask me that question, how can acupuncture change a herniated disc? I said, I don't know what's happening inside, but I know enough. This can be healed. Like Michael, 18 years later, the back still no pain. So again, there's a lot of people having outside of back pain, and very, very few professionals can help them. They either take the painkillers and mess up the stomach, or they take 5, 6, 7 kind of them and still suffering the pain for a long time. And sometimes some of you know, you can see people with the pain on the face. I have not at the time, but I know people can just see that. So do whatever you do. Attract a lot of people to you for treatment of back pain, get them healed. Because that will help society. Because I don't know one thing. I don't know if it's right or not. This is wrong or right. I said the homeless people in America, 47% of them is because of medical bills. 40% of people become homeless because of the medical bills. I mean, can you imagine that? If you get people back fixed, you will reduce that number, put it down. So people, the money they're using other things, educated, the kids, or whatever, not taking those, the unnecessary, well, you get them healed, they become unnecessary medication. So that's why, I think I want to talk about this pain thing. I think I'll pick up the low back one as the number one, the first one to talk about it. And I appreciate everybody's help this one. Let's go to the knee pain. The knee pain is also big problems here. The knee pain is a lot of, the treatment is pretty not as hard. It's just people think, I don't know where the idea got. Is that, it's bone on bone, so that nothing can be done about it. It's not hard to get them well. It's just hard for them to see, bone on bone can be even healed. Yesterday I saw Linda came back, someone had 9 years ago had back pain, get treated 3 times, the back pain was gone. She came back, her knee was hurting. Also, the back of her knee was hurting. Her back of her knee was hurting, not quite the front. And I'm more familiar with the treated knee from front, so the back, I said, okay, I'll do both. So she came in, she's, I don't know what's her age, she's done real estate about quite enough, 30-something years, so she must be, so the knee was hurting. Let's go to the points first. Stomach 33, gallbladder 34, spleen 9, and stomach 36, liver 3, and stomach 3. So the most special one here is stomach 33. Because I don't know how often you use it, because somehow that stomach 33 become my favorite point for knee pain. If I do, because we all use a spleen 9, that's the common, gallbladder 34, stomach 36, and even liver 3, because liver 3 nourishes the blood, we know that it helps it. So somehow, I find that stomach 33 is a magic point for knee pain. That's not necessarily common, and some other people use it. So Linda was coming yesterday. By the time she walked out of our office, she said she felt, well, her back and knee was a pain too. So I did the 40, bladder 40, I did bladder 16, I did P6. Just, as I said earlier, sometimes we're not quite confident. We have a challenge, so we give more points. Okay, I'll do more points. So by the time she's done, she walked out, she said she felt 80% pain reduction for that moment. And how long was it? I don't know, but she's coming back Monday. She had finished me last time, sure. So that's the acupuncture is effective for knee pain. It's just somehow if we could get people the idea out of the bone on bone that nothing can be done, they're doing knee replacement. If they could do the acupuncture, if they could do this recipe, Again, this recipe is not from me. All the herbal formula today is from one person, from his book. The guy who opened the hospital with hundreds of beds for arthritis, for the pain, Jimmy, yes.
You had
What?
stomach 3.
Yes, that's not me spelling, it's stomach free. I learned this one again from Dr. Sun, the professor, I learned it from this one. I got that one from his book, not from personal. He uses stomach free. I found out even I don't use it, it still works. So, but I want to put it there because that's his unique experience. And I was talking with Ivan during the break. He remembered the Dr. Sun, the one, Dr. Sun has a little polio. So when he walks a little bit different, you know. So you went to the hobby which year?
92, 93?
92. Two? All right, you must went there during the summer break, because that's the year I was in the school, but the summer break I was not there. Dr. Ma was there, right? Did you know him then?
Yes.
Don't remember? Okay. Yeah, Dr. Ma was there, one of the major translators for Americans, because our professor is the one who, you know, did the whole thing, the organization. Professor Huang, and you're familiar with it. Okay. So that's from Dr. Sun, the stomach free for the knee pain.
So both sides?
Both sides, yeah. All the points I use is both sides. Kara was asking, you know, earlier, so I usually do both sides. You know, somehow I do both sides. Just
Cover everything?
The what?
Cover either side. Doesn't matter what knee, you know, you do both sides.
That's right. If somebody was left knee pain like me yesterday, I treat them both sides. I always do both sides, unless it's goblet thing, you know, that position I cannot, so I just do one side. Most of the time, I do both sides. You know, even the right knee is fine, left knee hurting, I do both sides. Thank you, that's a good question. I even didn't think about it. So this recipe is from the Dr. Lo Duofeng, so yeah, Chinese, is Loudofeng. So Lo Duofeng, he's about, by now, it is around, he's been 90 years old or something like that. So this is his recipe, because you see there's a, okay, Chuan Yoxi here, there's Wu Gua, this for the lower part of the body, usually Yoxi, usually the neck is usually the shoulder, great to some different is. So there's a Danzhen again, there's a Dangwei again, so there's major herbs for the pain. And some of them you see is 25 blood, so they call 25 blood, 25 kidneys, because that's what it is nourishing, and it can make the knee strong. For the people who willing to use this, so they may very likely become avoid surgeries. But because the knee replacement is very popular, not everybody. I mean, a lot of people could be prevented. Well, again, the modification. Do you see that the second one by Jiangcao, which too much heat, is the same herbs come up again and again. I like those things. I like the simple ones. You know, this is something I can. Okay, if it's heat, I use the root of the honeysuckle flower and the baijiangcao. So if it's heat, I put that. It's blood stasis in the wushan wuyao. So it's I don't have to. This is a very small number of herbs, and it's pretty easy to have them. So you don't have to hundreds of them. Just if you wanted this one here. You know, I forgot, yes, Carol.
If you have a patient on blood thinners, do all of these formulas work okay, or do you take out any of the herbs?
Personally, I think it's very safe, in my experience. Yeah, because you may water it bleeding too much, they're very safe. Yeah, so I like to keep the use of herbs very gentle, very safe, at the same time effective. So this is like with a small amount of wushan wuyao, it's very safe. You always ask practical, good question. Thank you. That helps a lot. Yeah. Again, the top one for the cold, there's a great to this. It's a cinnamon. I don't think anybody has really concerned about cinnamon. Cinnamon is very safe. All of this very safe. That's what I like. In America, we practice medicine. Number one, I use a lot of herbs, and I even make herbal formulas. by that, what I mean is, we have a few associates here, I will come out with one formula, and I will have them make like 1,000 bottles. Private label, you know, for me, I say, okay, this for allergy, I call it allergy care. You know, over the years, I probably sold like at least 60,000 bottles of allergy care or something like that, because, you know, everybody could use allergy. Right, so I just, some of the formulas, I put them right here, and I just, of course, I want to make effective work, but also before that, gotta be safe. You know, safety first, easy to use, and then effective. So in that kind of order. So because if it's too difficult, people can't do it. Okay, so I have probably, I don't know, about, over the years I made about 10 different formulas together. And so allergy care is one of them, and there's a few others. All right, so that's the points. Any questions for the knee pain? I find out that sciatica pain is one of the most challenging ones. Do you find that way too? Because when somebody for low back pain, I come in, treat it, it's fine. But when you have low back pain associated with sciatica pain, it somehow becomes harder. So again, I'm looking for the Dr. Hopper, and I said, how does he use it? And he uses points. It's funny, stomach 32. This is how he uses it. Because he will have the patients kneel down on something and sit there for quite a while. I never figured out how to do that myself. Do you remember that point, how to use it, the proper position to use the points? If I really write something like this, you know, have a patient like that, and the points will show up, and then you put the needle there. And it's just not practical in America, so I'd never be able to do that. You know, the small intestine 6, you have to do this way, but the stomach 32, you have to put the points like that. And he used people like that, you know, in that position for about 30 minutes. That's very difficult to do. So I modified that. I just have people at a table and do that. Go ahead.
I was just saying that after that, he would need to do the knee pain.
So I modified that. I just say I don't have that skill, you know, use that, making people comfortable that way. So I just have them just lay down like that. So if you treat a sciatica pain, if somebody low back pain and a sciatica pain, you add this point. If just sciatica pain, use this. This is the point he used. Because because sometimes you might see people have sciatica pain, so you might need this.
So what position do you put them in?
I just them like face up.
So you do both sides?
I do both sides. Yeah.
The name of that point is Crouching Rabbit. And you just said, that's the first time I ever heard anyone say you located in that position.
Tell us more about it. Yeah.
Oh, I just looked it up in my clinic.
Come over here, Ruby. Come over here. This is your class. You're gonna help each other, right? Give him a hand. Thank you.
I have this TCM clinic aid, a lot of you might have it, and I was just looking at the point. It has the English name, it has a Chinese name, how you call that?
Futu.
Futu?
Yeah, just like you use.
And it means crouching rabbit, so I just found that interesting that you said that's how you locate it, in that crouching position. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, Chinese, when they say the name, it does mean something. Crouching, is it crouching?
Crouching rabbit.
Yeah, when you see that, when you see the muscle there, it's like crouching rabbit. That's how you can, if you could, that's how you do it. You can access the point. Just like a small intestine 6, we do this position, we cut it, you would do. So
You think it's more effective for the sciatic because you're in that position, you're kind of stretching your glutes?
I don't know, because that's the way to get our points.
Some people
So,
can't get in that
yeah.
position with like.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
But
so.
that would stretch it up.
Well, the thing is, because we got, 30 people here, and somebody's creative, they figure out a way to do things, you know. We never figure out, because, you can use something, push the button, and then in front of us it, you just never know. Somebody will figure it out. Sometimes we just need to ask the right question, to what's the solution for these problems? Somebody will figure it out, right? Yeah.
So when you're doing the sciatic pain treatment, are you also like including, like, let's say, the low back pain treatment? Because a lot of times they're
Yes, I will, yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, when there's, if they're both together, have that, yes. Good question, yeah. So this is a special point for the
So then-
second of this.
So Gwen, if, just to elucidate Ivan's question, so then would you have the person turn over and use stomach 32 along with the other points?
If I have a low back pain, I will add low back pain points, those 10 points too, yes.
Well, sciatic pain is typically, it originates in the lower back, even though they may not experience it there.
Even, so if somebody problems back, but they don't have any symptoms there, you can just go stomach 32, or you can incorporate them both.
I see.
Yeah, even that 1 point that we can take care of that, even is from back for some reason. I love your input, thank you so much, yeah. And Dr. Ma's been very quiet. I'm sure he knows a lot of this, Dr. Harrison, that's his favorite, doctor, you know. So you guys so far shared a few things about Dr. Herper, he's pretty close.
A little bit about Dr. Wang. In fact, many people know Dr. Wang, but in fact, because I left so early, right, 20 years ago, because he's so busy with practice, so some people may not know. In fact, Dr. Wang is, I think, the earliest Chinese teacher here in the school, right?
I think I was the very first full-time Chinese professor to this school, Elba School.
Yes.
Not the first Chinese, but the first full-time one, because there is another one, she was part-time, so she had a green card, so she can practice, do whatever she wants to, so she teaches a little bit. She teaches here, and she's the first one, but I was the first full-time faculty here.
And Dr. Wang brought other Chinese teachers here, including me.
Oh,
I came here in 1999. And Dr. Wang mentioned Dr. He he said I told you him about Dr. He Puren. But in fact, He Puren, I was told by his teacher later, Dr. Cao Hongxin, but I know Dr. Cao, that time, Dr. Wang came to the school. But later, Dr. Wang is Dr. Cao's PhD student. Dr. Cao is the president of Chinese Medical Science Academy. That's the very top. And he started with Dr. Cao. He did not mention it. And when I started my master's degree, we are together. That's how we meet each other. And that time, we're under Professor Huang Mingshan. You see a few books here. And when we under Dr. Huang, you see a few books in this library. And Dr. Wang made that chart, the two charts. One is
Probably on the wall there somewhere there.
I have it.
You have it?
the two charts is summarized. And make that so simple, summarize yin, yang, qi, la, then you include all syndromes. That's very creative. And Dr. Wang made that happen.
That was it.
And later, that time Dr. Wang is so smart, and I know Dr. Cao before him, but Dr. Wang found out Dr. Cao had another clinic. So he took me, we followed Dr. Cao. That time we are in our 20s. The Dr. Cao, like 30-some years old, very young professor. But you can tell his potential is because when we were in the clinic, the small clinic, and people just try to squeeze into the door. I have to hold the door every time. They don't help Dr. Cao. And later Dr. Cao became so famous all over China, and he's become president of China Medical Science Academy. And he, in fact, is almost become the one time he was sick, but otherwise he will be the Minister of Public Health. And Dr. Wang is studying with Dr. Cao. That's how came he showed this. This is the top. And Dr. Wang mentioned that when we read Chinese books, you don't know what's true. There's so many. Also, but Dr. He Puren's book, that's the real stuff. You see, when I mentioned the positives 1 and 2, and there's some points you cannot believe. It's unusual, but that's Dr. He Puren's unique stuff. It's the real stuff. And Dr. He Puren has many special stuff. it's a limestone part, but you can tell it's the real stuff. But when you read other books, it's just in Chinese they say scissors and glue and you just put things together. Here just cut and paste this computer. Many people write books that way, but Dr. Hopper's book, no, it's real stuff. You believe me? That it's really acupuncture gurus. The other two everybody knows because the one Chengxin and Wang Juntai, because they are on the national level, they publish many research papers. But Dr. Hopper is a professor in Beijing Tixian Hospital. So nationally, not so many people know. But in fact, the people, yeah, the real acupuncturist, you have to know who. Dr. Cao told me it's like that pass this word to Dr. In fact, it's his teacher.
Can you write his name on the board?
Which one, whose?
The doctor. Your doctor.
Dr. Ma was talking about a few stories about a few doctors here. And back in 1990 to 93, Dr. Ma and I were studying under Professor Huang. Professor is, at the time, was vice president of the college, so he was very, very busy. He's famous and very busy. So it's about the second year in the school, in the 1991, Professor Cao, he was Professor Huang's master student too. So basically, he was about 7 years ahead of us earlier. And that year, Dr. Cao graduated from his PhD program, and he was back in to see the treat patients. So one day, Professor Huang says, basically, he says, tell his Hongxin, that's his first name. He says, I'm very busy. Why don't you help me to teach Dr. Ma and Wang, because Xiao Wang and his Dongxin, that's his name. So that way, Professor Huang made arrangement for us to apprentice under Professor Huang's students, Professor Cao. Professor Cao is now he's about 6 years old, and back then he was like 32. I remember one day, it was lunch break, it was on break, and he was just resting there, and the patient comes in, he saw him, say, hey, look at him, he's so young. He says, oh, you're a student here, right? He said, sure, I am. And he was seeing like 130 patients a day. 130 patients a day. And people will get up in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., in the ice cold weather to get one ticket, get in the line to be able to see him the following day. So Dr. Ma and I, we both apprenticed there for 2 years. Tuesday, Friday, every week. Tuesday, Friday, every week. 130 patients every time. And we both led together.
Because after you push away some patients, otherwise you can see as many as you want. You let people, get a number, right? In fact, when study is limited, we limit to a certain number. It's from 7 something to 8 o'clock in the evening. Wow. And you let many people leave. Otherwise, I don't know, midnight.
So I wasn't smart back then, take a lot of notes. So, but one thing I got from I opened my eyes and I know this Chinese medicine is real. The Chinese medicine is real. I saw him, the saving lives of diabetes people not supposed to live, and firsthand I saw that. And of course, Dr. Ma says later on he became the president of the school, which we attend to, and later on he became the president of the Academy of Chinese Medical Science, which is a very top academic organization in China for Chinese medicine. I mean, so he's the health council to top Chinese leaders nowadays. So it's very hard to get to see. But Dr. Ma, we did have good fortune. Back in 91 through 93, 2 years time, twice a week, 2 days a week, just watching apprenticing. We were under the training. We helped him. We got to do a little bit, but that was the one give us the love of Chinese medicine. I mean, he does push only the herbal medicine. He doesn't do acupuncture. So he 3 minutes, he will see one patient, 3 minutes. It works, so it wasn't just speedy, yeah, Dr. Ma, please.
Maybe I take your 1 minute to share the story. How come we started with Dr. Cao? You can tell we are both very passionate about Chinese medicine. We really love Chinese medicine because we see the real stuff. One time we started.
Come over here, Dr. Ma, come here. Come over here. No, come over here. No, come over here, yeah. Yeah, give him a hand, yeah. You want to get it?
You can tell we love Chinese medicine.
Come over here.
We teach, we are passionate.
Yeah, come over here. Come over here, come over here, yeah.
Yeah. So how come we started studying Dr. Cao? One time, Professor Huang is busy. We studied for master degree because he's the president of the college. So he asked for substitute. So Dr. Cao substitute as the supervisor. So both of us plus Sui Shaoli, another lady, also studied for. So 3 students plus Dr. Cao. So but the lady, I remember being like 40 years old, came in, just check the pulse. Did not mention anything. Check the pulse. Doctor said, you have pain in your left heel. The lady jumped up, said, how can you tell? I have later I mentioned the story, other people said maybe because she's late. She's not late. We cannot tell. And the other lady still cannot tell. But Dr. Cao touched the pulse, say you have pain in your left heel. So we are curious, how come? So we let us try the pulse too. We cannot tell. Dr. Cao mentioned how you feel, you can tell the left heel fine. So I was really, really impressed. Oh, Professor Huang, very smart. He also my master. But how we also follow Dr. Cao. We are 20-some years old. Dr. Cao is only a little over 30. Just got his PhD. But in fact, later for something, we visited his home. You don't have to know his address. Just in Dawei district. Go to that district to ask for Dr. Cao. Then
Everybody knows him.
people can find where to go. And he's only in his 30s. In Harbin, everybody knows Dr. Cao. and you see, when we follow him, that was my, he started this. When we follow him, he helped to take the farm. I helped to keep the dog closed. Because people just to keep things in order. So it's amazing, and it's a very happy time when we follow Dr. Cao from like 7-some to like 8 o'clock. And lunchtime, you just have the food box, you just rushed to eat, and people are still waiting. And one time, that's a little late for some other reason. When he walked in, it's like a movie star, because everybody seems to stand up and like 100 patients. So we can tell it's real, because then some people start Chinese medicine. They talk, how can you tell from the bottom, from top? It's imagination, it's not. We see the real stuff. That's why we are so passionate about this medicine that we love to teach. And also, like Dr. mentioned, how Dr. He wrote this book. It's just amazing. We are so many books, but many things is not impressed until we see He's book, until we see Dr. Huang and Dr. Cao. You can tell this is real. Okay,
Thank you. Yeah, I think when Dr. Ma graduated from his PhD, because I left in China earlier, I came over here to teach at Oma. When he graduated from his PhD program from Beijing University of TCM, so Stuart was, very smart. We found a way to get him from China to here to teach. And you taught him for how many years?
Me?
Yeah.
If it's come till today, it's 19.
19 years.
Oh.
Yeah, he was, so he, 19 years.
I'm sorry, I quit 2 years ago.
That's okay. That's okay, yeah.
Too busy.
Yeah, so we, that's the one, so, this kind of early days of Oma. Let's go this. Neck pain. Neck pain seems everybody uses computer nowadays. Do you use computer? Who doesn't use computer? Raise up your hand. You don't use a computer at all. So we use a lot of computer. So we are lucky as acupuncture, we don't use a lot of computer, but a lot of people use a lot of computer here. And as a result, they might get a computer neck, a computer shoulder, something that hurts, A lot of people sit in front of the desk a lot, and they need help. So here's the formula. You notice there's some herbs are the same. There's tokusao is there, there's dangui is there. We said we use them a lot for all kinds of pain. And jishuoteng is the 3 herbs. Do you see that? Of course, the gurgen is the one we know is famous for the neck. So when you use herbs, there's herbs guiding the position. So for the neck is a gurgen, for the knee is a yoshi, for the. So this is the formula. Doctor. Well, he has to. So the Dr. Low is the one who opened the hospital for pain, for arthritis. So this is his recipe after 50 years. He says this is the one he would use. So 20 years later, I come up of my mind, but now let's still use his. Okay, there's a xiangfu there. Do you see the last one there? Xiangfu is used for pain a lot. When I very often, because I know Dr. Ma uses xiangfu for treating ladies for fertility for me, but here xiangfu is so good at moving the qi and so gentle, help the qi moves better and reduce the pain. So xiangfu uses a lot together with dangui, with the jishuoteng, with the tokusao. Tokusao is a special one because I didn't even never heard about tokusao before until I ran across this in his Dr. Lewis book. I said, what it is? So I researched it, studied it, and found out it's a very effective one, it's very safe, it's very gentle, it's very inexpensive, easy to get. And not easy to get here because it's not a very common use. There are some herbal companies carry it, some don't, but it's the one used a lot.
Are those dosages for powder or for raw?
It's raw herbs, 1 bag, but you can just easily convert to powder. It's the same ratio. The ratio is same, you'll be fine. Good question. You asked a very practical question. Okay, the points. Gallbladder 39, small intestine 19. I couldn't believe I typed in the E was not there. I was typing it this morning, early morning. And ashi points. He likes to use ashi points a lot. When you say, this is how I learned from him, I use it. I say, I ask a question, use 1 finger to say where it hurts you the very, very most. You ask a question, where hurt the very most? If it's the neck, there have been 1 point. Okay, so that's, I will use a needle, put it there, locate that 1 point, I put a few ashi points around it, and then go with this gallbladder 39, small intestine 19, yeah. One thing about sometimes follow people use the method is I'm not always that way, because when I was younger, I always liked to modify, I always liked to improve, always liked to change, always liked to say, hey, I think about this, how about I try this a little different? I don't know about you, because had I not had that, I would be much better. Because I always want to, because instead of write down exactly what I use it, I always, I think of this way, and that's what blocks me. That's what gets into the way of me. And later on, I said, all right, I will do exactly what they say. I will become teachable. I will become follow the instruction. Because sometimes getting my own way, I'm hurting myself. Have that ever happened to you? Somebody tell you something. You say, whether it's a teacher or parents, I say, I think I can do better. Let me do better. And I find out I'm not doing any better. So when he was doing that for the neck pain, this is the point he used. Okay, I'll use it. I'll just do exactly what he says. I'll just do that. Surprising, it works better. Yeah, I would do for the ashi points. I would do about 5 points. I put 1 needle where exactly, and 4 of them around it, and just go towards it. And I found out. I learned the lesson the hard way is follow the instruction and to follow what they say, if they know better than I do. I was not always that way. I always wanted, that's why I didn't take up much notes. When I was following Dr. Chow, I didn't have no book to show the formulas. I had nothing. But I just, except one thing, I know Chinese medicine works. Okay, I know it works. So now nowadays, lately, I'm going back to studying the Sangha, the formula exactly, because everyone knows Sangha, right? Where the Greek tongue comes from. I learned exactly how they, when I use the formula, exactly how they use the formula. Now I say, hey, I think they can change a little bit better. No, it has been time tested, it has been time tested for thousands of years, that's, well, at least 1,800 years, that's 1,801, almost 2,000.
Do you locate the gallbladder 39 on the anterior or the posterior of the fibula? Because I think that it has changed, you'll find reference to it on either spot. So where do you locate it?
You know, I don't know where, I just find where the depression area, the hole is.
Yeah.
I just palpate it where okay, that's the hole is, I'm going
Do you
there.
find it on the anterior side of the bone?
I think it's between the bones, so there's
I think it's between those tendons.
Well,
That are on
it,
the edge of
the reason I
fibula.
asked is because it changed. Like
I'm
some
getting bored,
before
Dr. Mark
some
here,
as
so
well.
Josie can come over here and tell us, how do you locate goblet 39, come over here, yeah. No, come over here, please, help us out, over here. Answer that question, yeah.
What's the question I just?
Okay, come over here, you ask the question, okay, come over here, one thing, yeah. Okay, ask the question, yeah.
Well, I had noticed that the location, and I had even found some literature that said that the classical point has changed from the posterior of the fibula to the anterior, as far as the description.
Okay, all right, let's come over here, Libby, you come over here, Libby, you come over here, we're gonna locate on you, come over here, Dr. Mark, let's see.
I just, we don't
Okay.
have, so, in fact, there's some questions, for example, I still remember the year back in China, so you locate the points, sometimes, even different teachers, it varies a little bit, and people get confused. And also I took some Swedish students to a Chinese hospital. Like, it's different, but there's one traditional saying you can leave the point, but don't leave the channel. Just most important, don't leave this channel. You leave the points, not channel. So in fact, when you teach, because point location really is coming down from person to person. So when you see different instructors, could be something off. And even go back, this is a standard, what we learn, the textbook is from Shanghai. They have a teaching department, it's anatomy, so they write the definition for points. From Beijing, because Beijing, we research, we start acupuncture, we research the channels. But the channel says it's not precisely, not precise one. But Beijing, you just see, they use a mark, right? But there's some points is really, you don't have a typical mark. So it's could be involved, but we still try to keep this channel.
The reason I asked is I remember studying for my point location exam, and there was a specific answer to that, for that exam.
Yeah, so for the exam, but
then
I
it
came
had
here,
changed.
I took the test, I got a little bit, worried, because before I came here, still works registered me for the test. I don't know what is the test like in this country, and it's a computer test. I never took computer test in China. At that time, computer is not so popular in the 1990s, right? So I worried, so when I do the point location, when I click, I try to aim. But I click and I research, click, but later I got to know they have a, rank, it's not exactly the point. They talk about how many inches, 16, 19, it's not exactly the point for the test. It's not so accurate. For computer, how to be a run, it doesn't even circle, it's not a point for the computer test. But that time I got really worried. I aimed for half an hour. Well, I think 30, but when it's already 25 minutes, I see I only finished half because I'm aiming. Later, I just, I blame my mom.
Yeah, there's so many points work together then.
Yeah.
All right.
So, especially for then the only something like stomach 36, people research a lot, and sometimes very difficult. Then it's out the mark, because they use joints, you use the plates as the mark, but sometimes you don't have very difficult. Leave it off, that's okay. But we see the channel. You leave the point, don't leave the channel.
All right, thank you, thank you, Dr. Ma. So that might also may not, if you want exactly precise for you, I have another so smart answer for you. Since there's only 1 or 2 points there, so why don't you put the needle on both places? And that's not so smart answer, but
Also another thing, I mean, so when they part of the plant location, also scale part is also they have the same, this line, that line. But there are another theory points, like acupuncture, because you just have the theory for points, not the line. The line is invented by a neurology doctor, right? But that big argument. But for me, scalp, it's not so specific. It's not like these points, stomach sensitive comes very accurate, you feel it. The scalp, it's just my area. People, when you're saying threading, right? What's the word? You go from the bottom, you cover this much. It's not a point. It's not, so it's not so precise on the scalp, right? So this is different.
well, thank you. Let's go, oh, where did I cover all the 5? What are you talking about, low back pain, neck pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, what else? Sciatica pain, so 5 of them. Okay, I have some, I realized that I probably didn't have enough materials, so I add a few there. I call that bonus.
Gwen, listen, I will resend this so you'll have the last bit. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, isn't she nice? So now we're going to talk about menstrual pain. This is probably one of the most effective formula for menstrual cramps. And it's so effective. Actually, about 12 years ago, I made an herbal formula a pill out of this. And that was my most successful failure. Let me tell you why. Most successful because it works so well. You know, people during the period of time, the menstrual cramps works 3 days, 4 days, it works. Not so successful because I made so many of them, I didn't sell them around, so I had to, a lot of them went without me. So obviously, I lost some money, but I got a lot of good results for this. So this formula is from he's already gone now, one of the most famous gynecologists in China. There are 2 famous ones in China. One is the north, the school I attended, we attended Dr. Han Dai. The other one is the south, the Luo Yankai. He's near Hong Kong. He's the south. He's the most famous for his Chinese gynecology. So this is formula. His daughter, writing a book and to share that. In the original formula, there was one more linzi. We take it out because like it's the feces of some birds. You remember that one? Because people sitting there, they don't want to take it. So okay, well, I remove that out.
Is the grams in powder or in raw herbs?
You can do them both.
So the same in both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just proportion. If you want to make 100 grams, you just make 2 or 3 times and then make a similar that. Yeah. Powder. This is probably powder. Works better because when people in pain, they need something quick. Only thing is sometimes if they take it too long, maybe cause the menstrual a little bit heavy, but not too much. So it works very quick. This basically is a warming and is moving the qi and move the blood. So that's its theory because the pain is stagnation, is cold.
So if someone is also blood deficient, has both blood stagnation and deficiency, would you add some gangwei and more blood building herbs?
You could, but this is only taking during the period of time, only 2 or 3 days. You can just, this works quicker.
Okay.
And later on, you can build up blood later.
Okay.
Yeah. Because in the earlier days, I would say, yeah, we can modify that, do that. And then now I learn better. Just try it. If it works, stay with it. Because a lot of things, they sound similar, they sound maybe better, but sometimes maybe, sometimes not. So this is taking me a long time to learn that lesson. And now I've become a little more teachable myself to follow sometimes I have to follow my own instructions, which is a bit difficult to do. Why do you laugh? It is. Well, there's points there, that letter here, 57. Now you can do all your points, but I have this one here, 57. You know what? Let's take another 10 minutes break, and then, how about that? Add something to it. So this is bonus number 2. Headache. Everybody should have headache, right? Raise up your hand if you should have headaches. Yeah. I want to show one formula first. This one here, the Qing Gong Gao, the first one here, Qing Gong Gao. This is Dr. Chao, one of my teachers, you know, he's my favorite teacher, you can see. That's his favorite herbal formula for headache. He says it's almost never fail him, it almost always work. Of course, he probably makes some modifications, but yeah, out of a few things I learned from, a lot of things I learned from him, this is one of them. So he personally, he used this formula, the Qing Gong Gao. And here, second one, the Transhuman Chadao one, is another formula similar, which is I use a lot myself here. Okay, how many have you have the patent pill herbs in your pharmacy? Okay. Do you have this one here? Who has it? Okay. Just by the way, who was here last year for the continuing education? Just anybody here last year? Okay. Yeah. I was wondering why you come back, because you know. So the Transhuman Chadao one is my favorite one for. I used to treat it for allergies a lot, because here Austin had a lot of allergies. People sneezing, runny nose, the watery eyes, congestions. You know. So anybody have allergies, if the symptoms is above the throat, because which means they don't have cough, they don't have mucus, they don't have all those things. And I tend to use this formula, the Transhuman Chadao one formula. And I use this formula for allergies a lot, and it's the number one indication actually is headache. So if you have the luxury making the formula powder herbs, you can use the Qing Gong Gao, because I don't think that one is available in pill forms, but the Transhuman Chadao one is easily available in pill forms. Let me tell you how much I like this formula. I said earlier I made private label pills. This is in my office we call it allergy care. You know, people, because they don't know what the Transhuman Chadao one is. In America, you tell them this is what it is. But if you tell them this is allergy care, it's okay. This is for allergies. I mean, if you're there, or courageous enough to put your name on the label on the bottle, they say, okay, I know this guy. Maybe I'll trust this bottle. I'll try it. So that's basically the idea how I do. I put this formula, I put a label on it called allergy kit, I put my name on it. Because they don't know this name in Chinese, but they know me, the patient know me. So they feel, okay, maybe you said it's safe, I try it, and if it's safe, I try it, And it's very safe, it's very effective. I've been using this formula for since probably 15 years. Sometimes there are years, there will be like 600 to 800 bottles per year of this formula. People will come to my office, either I prescribe it or they come here, buy it. So somewhere between 600 to 800 bottles of one single herbs. That's a lot for a small clinic, don't you think? So I use this one for a lot, for headaches. Basically, it's just anybody, allergists have headaches above here and use it. So if you want to use the pills, because I'm sure you have this in your office, so I just want to share this with you. Points. Again, all these points is from this one here, Dr. Hooper. I learned from him, I try it, and it seems to work. Okay, so when I try it, it works. Okay, no, I can trust it. And then I can share this with you, and maybe you can try it, and then it becomes yours, and then you keep it, and you tell somebody else. By the way, who else here is teaching besides Dr. Ma and Dr. Anybody here on the faculty or any place? Okay, Dr. Jimmy Yan, okay. All right, so someday, you know, don't keep this all to yourself, you share with somebody, you know. Well, you teach somewhere. Somewhere, you know, you don't have to have a title of a faculty or professor or something. Everybody teaches something. Like today here, Ruby was sharing, and Jimmy, Dr. Ma, and everybody, right? Because I come here because, you know, I got to learn something myself too, besides getting my, you know, license renewed or continuing education. I mean, every day we can learn something. I've learned quite a few things so far already. I already get my money worth of it. Which is Leslie probably not charging me anything, so I by my labor. All right, so on the back side, if somebody had a headache on the back, the urinary bladder 67. Do you find that strange? All right. I didn't know that. I use it. Oh, it works. If somebody, I always ask where the headache is because we said channels. Which channel is it? Okay, that's bladders. Okay. Dr. Hooper used 67. Okay, I'll use hers. I use the tiny needle, the red one. Anybody use this needle? What do you call that? Brain? Sarin. The smallest one is because it's on the people's toe. It's sensitive, so I press it, and I put them in, and it seems it goes a bit. This is a very good needle. I'm not for those places. Yeah. Who uses this needle? Most of them. So that's for that. If the location is on the back. If it's the front, because we know this is the stomach area, isn't it? I mean, you can do a large intestinal before you can do that. And Dr. Cooper uses 12, rim 12, CV12, and writing it there. It's because it is a. Yeah, if up to me, I would never invented this kind of stuff. You know, even I wouldn't figure out myself, yeah, because that's what it is. So look at me. On the side, so we know that's what gallbladder, right? So he used it, gallbladder 15, and gallbladder 20. That's my favorite points. You know, it seems how a lot of times it works very well for headache. It's very calming, and for people who don't sleep well, for the headache. Gallbladder 20, and large intestine 4, lung 7. Let's digress. Last year, I think we talked about insomnia last year, right, Leslie? You remember how you forgot them all? Because you had a lot of fantastic. So we talked about insomnia. There are different kinds. Insomnia, there are a lot of ways to treat insomnia. I mean, insomnia is a challenge. 1 in every 4 people in developed country, any country is developed, 1 in 4, 25% do not sleep well. They suffer from insomnia. Early days when I was in China, I don't know anybody suffer from insomnia, very few. But now the country has been grown so much, so it's become getting that directions. And for the developed countries, American is almost one of the top. 1 in 2 people in America, 1 in 2 people in America do not sleep well. Right? Do you know people drink coffee to wake up? Do you know anybody take pills to go to sleep? So half of the people drink coffee to wake up, and the other half take the pills to go to sleep. So gallbladder 20 works well for headache and for sleep. And then lastly, we'll talk about the formula is because I'm sure you're very familiar with this one, but I'm writing down now. This is good for headache with insomnia. It's an old formula, not from Sun Hanlin, but same system book from Sun Hanlin. Mayway, the herbal company, Mayway, make it in a tablet. Do you know that? Who buys herbs from Mayway at all? Very few, because Mayway is more expensive than others is. Because I use, yeah. So you can use other brands. The Swandarintan, I find the 7 tablets from that brand works very well. People take one time before go to sleep. You don't tell people take them twice a day for some herbs for sleep, unless you strategically time the time to take it. I learned from one doctor, another one, he just gone at age 97. This how have people taken the sleeping herbs. He says, okay, you tell patients, you take these herbs at 6 p.m., first dosage. And you take the second dosage at 10 p.m. So he will get 2 dosage, but 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. So not 6 a.m., not 10 a.m., it's 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. And I tried a few times for people, the results is better. Because somehow the timing, I did not learn that until this year. I was reading his book, my nephew bought a book from me, I read the book. I said, wow, okay, that makes sense. So for this Swanjiaoren, even 1 time works for headache with insomnia. And then, well, that's digression a little bit. But goblet 20 is very good for insomnia and for headache. All right, top headache. Which meridian is this? The what? That's right. It's the liver, the draining, the liver, the top. So Dr. Herperin, he uses the large intestine 4, liver 3, and what do you call that? 4 Shisenchong? Yeah. Let me give another wisdom from Dr. Herperin. He also used Shisenchong for high blood pressure. The same points, liver 3, large intestine 4, plus the Shisenchong. Shisenchong is almost the go-to point for high blood pressure from this doctor. What I'm sharing with you, probably 1 or 2, at most 5% of his, maybe 1 or 2% of his book to be fair, because it gets so much. But I just pick up one, read this often, and maybe some practical use for you. Which is high blood pressure? You do? Okay. So you have something question, April?
So you do Shisenchong, so forget about do 20?
Well, yeah, forget about 220. Yeah, but if you won't remember, that's okay. But yeah.
It's stimulated anyways after you.
Yeah, Gail, please.
Joanne, I just feel like I need to say something with all.
Please, wait, you want to say it there, you want to say it here?
No, I can say it right here.
Okay.
About this headache formula, I have a feeling if somebody came in with a vertex headache and they had some damp heat, when the heat was rising, that combination could make it a lot worse. Because of using the 4 gates and then drying it up. So, just a perspective.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. No comments, I have no idea. Yeah. Only laughing. Yeah. I mean, this class, we share. Yeah. So that's,
Another perspective.
That's right.
I've noticed that a lot of the students that come through AOMA use 4 gates all the time, or a lot of the time. But my experience with those 2 points is that it keeps the energy contained. It circulates. It's great to facilitate qi circulation and regulation. But if there's a quality that needs to be dispersed out, it can deepen the condition.
Yeah, certainly we don't want to deepen and make it worse.
Can you
Yes,
share
yeah.
a case?
Yeah.
Your own personal
Yeah,
case?
I can. Would you like me to?
Oh yeah, keep it 3 minutes if you can, yeah.
Okay, so this was back in Santa Fe when I was practicing there. I had a woman, and I was excited about the 4 gates. I learned about them. I had a lady who had insomnia and high blood pressure, but she presented with just a lot of stagnation. And I did several points, including 4 gates, and she came back and she said, I don't know what you did, but though I had the worst nightmares after that treatment, and I feel like I'm gonna crawl out of my skin. And it taught me a lesson
What's the lesson?
I realized that, that there were underlying conditions that I wasn't addressing first before just regulating the chi. I didn't know her that well at the time, but I learned a lot from her experience.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
So may I ask, how did you change your strategy, obviously?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, and then she started feeling better. And what I did, I just started draining the gallbladder channel, which I thought I had done I think that it was like the second or third time I'd seen her, but it wasn't enough.
That's right. You know, the first time you didn't get a patient better, they'll give you a second chance. They give you a second chance to fix it. That's very good.
Similarly, I don't always use the large intestine 4 if someone has a lot of blood deficiency. Because if they have a lot of blood deficiency and you're moving a lot of blood, they'll get a headache.
Thank you for sharing that. I certainly want to make people feel comfortable with this, so they feel better. That's why they come, you know, back to the Martha, my patients advice, always tell me, heal me, don't hurt me. Every time she comes in, she's very sensitive, you know. And I remember that because that's good advice to myself. Heal people, don't hurt people, you know. Yeah. So that's for the headaches. On the back is blood 7, and the front is a stomach, and on the side is what's 74, 17, goblet 15, and goblet 20. So the goblet 20 is a very, very good one. And for the top headache and the sisintone, that's what we use it, and very good for blood pressure too. But it's for the liver, So the liver 3, blood intestine 4. Wow. Okay. This one here, I didn't learn this until last year. Because how do you pronounce it? Post-hepatic.
Herpetic.
What's that?
Herpetic?
Can you say it louder one more time? Clear loud.
Post-herpetic.
Post-hepatic neuralgia. How do you say it?
Neuralgia.
Neuralgia. Okay. So basically, it's the pain of shingles. A lot of people have shingles, and they can be hurting for a long time. A long time could be 6 months or maybe even longer. And this mostly happens to the people who are senior citizens who needed the pen the least. I'm not saying anybody else needs the pen, but they need the pen the least. And do you want me to talk about herbs first or acupuncture first?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter, I'll go. I got needles in my hand. I saw this one time. There's one of the famous doctor, acupuncture Dr. Dr. Chen Xinong. His grandson did one demo how to treat this pain. He did one demo. This is what he used it. Can I borrow your apple or something?
how about body?
You know what?
Body.
Well, some
Use
right
a real
person-
body.
Would you like to?
Sure. Where is it? I mean, do
The
you
what?
wanna do apple or you wanna do a human being?
Okay, let's just do apple. Apple will not complain. The way, I may not as skillfully demonstrate what he did it, because you say, suppose this area hurts, right? He was just very lightly, just, what do you call that? It's just very lightly.
Like rusting?
Just tapping just a little bit, touching, a little bit touching. He would do that, the whole area.
But not going through the skin?
Not at all, just barely, you know.
Mm.
And there's just a bunch of head, a lot of needles, it's just like that.
Can you use name on this?
That's called hen pecking.
What?
Hen pecking like a chicken.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
I just remember the name.
You got it?
No, he's using about 5 needles.
10.
那用梅花针不行吗？
可以啊，没关系，可以，yeah.
And
It's
so,
not-
like, over the sore?
Oh, no, where it hurts, just very
You
light
mean
touch.
exactly on the
On the spot, on where it hurts.
Okay, this is talking about after the blister is
Yeah.
healed.
No, this is the post the pain. The pain, they're already all healed.
Yeah.
And you like a month or 2 months later, they still hurt, they come to you.
No, why not use electric acupuncture? I mean,
You know, I don't know why, but this is just.
because you have to do how long?
5 minutes.
Well, I just use a machine.
I would think that may be easier too, but you didn't use it, so.
I just use a plum blossom and tap on it. I've
That would do
used
it.
it for years and it helps
Right,
a
so you
lot.
use a pad,
What's your name?
My name,
Yeah.
Kimmy?
So Kimmy, you wanna share us, what are you saying, beautiful, this, yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I've seen a lot of patients for it, I just use a plum blossom on it and tap exactly where their pain is,
Yeah.
you know, and it's helped a tremendous amount in the past.
Do you have one story to share, 3 minutes, you wanna share, tell, just how you use it basically,
Yeah, I have a patient who has.
Do you wanna sit there, you wanna come over here?
I'm fine here.
Alright, good.
Who had pulmonary fibrosis, and she's, terminal. And I've been treating her for years, and she gets a lot of breakouts on her ear and on the side of her head, and the pain. Even when, like, the blisters haven't come, but she feels the pain, we just plum blossom it, and the next day, she always texts me and is like, it's a miracle, I feel great. Like, so even when they start feeling, she gets shingles often, so she knows the symptoms when she starts to feel the pain, and just hit it right when she starts to feel it, she comes in right away, and then she doesn't develop the full one.
Do you ever bring blood to the surface, or?
Yeah, a little bit, I mean, I don't like bang the hell out of her, but, like, I tap it pretty good, yeah, there's definitely some blood.
Because if it's a lot of area, if somebody is hurting everywhere, then you have to spend,
Yeah, I mean,
a long time.
It can be time consuming, but you're not gonna hit them for a long time on each spot, so.
He said that teacher do 5 minutes each
Right.
area.
I haven't, I mean, I'm not that teacher, but like I haven't
You
done
just
it
do
for
a
5
few
minutes
taps.
each area. I mean, it's probably a couple minutes that I spend.
Alright, so the
But-
5 minutes is for the whole thing, for the whole 5 minutes, for the whole area, for everything. 5
Yeah,
minutes.
it might be
Cool.
I mean, just tap
Did
on
you
it.
try?
Did I try it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not tried this one here. But I saw because the shingle pain is so painful, and I never see anybody has effective ways. But I uncovered 2 of them. One is acupuncture from the Chen Xinlong's grandson. I mean, if he says something to do it, his grandfather is that famous, I will give it a try. Because if somebody, let's say, if, I know he will teach everything he knows of it to his grandson. Let's be put that way. That's just the way Chinese is. I'm sure in America it's no difference. So when he showed that, I said, wow, this is unique. I never saw it before, and I remember it.
Do you do acupuncture for somebody who's having a blister in the active stage?
Of course,
You do?
yes. I treat quite a few cases of this is the thing is, when somebody has shingles come to me, they come in, they get healed. They don't have this problem. They wouldn't have this problem.
Meaning if they come early, if they are having it right then, like it's active.
It doesn't matter when they come into me, I'm gonna get them healed. It's just to take a few times, I'm getting them healed.
I have a good story.
The what?
I have a good story that I'll tell from here.
Absolutely, yes.
Fairly early in my practice, I had a woman come in and she just had shingles all over her trunk. She was wrapped like a mummy with cloth, and we took it off and looked at it. I had patent medicine tablets of Banlangan. So it was like Banlangan, Ziwadiding, Guganging, something like that, green, cold, bitter, toxic heat clearing herbs. I had her, we did it in the clinic, and then I had her do it at home. I just had her take the patent medicine, smash it up in some water and make a paste. And she covered herself with it. Didn't see her for a year or 2. She comes back, I'm like, whatever happened with your shingles? She was like, it was great. It cleared right up, and now I'm in acupuncture school. Yeah, you made such an impression on her, she went to school.
That's a great story.
I probably gave her something similar orally, yeah, just,
Was it
Oh, but-
just, like with
Like
the
a
oil
paste.
or?
no, just with water. I just had her make a paste with water just to get the herbs and a paste
And to put a
to take the
Band-Aid
heat
on?
out. Yeah, just to wrap herself back up with the
That's very
steam.
I have a story to share.
Yeah, please.
may have something to do with Chinese medicine, but more like dietary. My friend just told me that she had a shingle maybe last year, and even though it's the blisters heal, it's gone. Even afterwards, she had the terrible post-shingle pain. Just not. She tried everything. She actually took Chinese herb, go get acupuncture. It's still there. And then she said one day she was shopping in Walmart and she saw beef liver. And she thought, I don't know why, she just said, oh, I'm gonna try it. She doesn't like liver at all. But for some reason, she bought it and she made a soup. She doesn't like liver, so she drink the soup. This beef liver with ginger slices. She said she can feel, it sounds like a miracle. She said after she drink it, she can feel the pain just slightly, piece by piece, like disappear. I'm trying to figure out what is it? What's the ingredients in? Okay. And I asked how about chicken liver. She said she doesn't think chicken liver is as strong as beef.
How old is this person there? How old are they?
She is in the 70s, early 70s.
Well, isn't that great, sharing the stories like that? Yeah, so when people come in for that acute shingles, and acupuncture herbs can help you, is when they didn't come to you and then come with this kind of post-pain, this is what it is. And this recipe is very special, very unique, and very different. The gualo is such a big dosage, and honghua and the ganchao. So this is probably for the powder formula. For the raw herbs, cut it by half, 30 grams, 1.5, and 6 grams of ganchao, and that's in one bag. And this, because this is kind of unique, this formula for this kind of pain. Because sometimes people have a shingle pain for a long time. And this is the key to the door, to Leslie, this is the key to the post-shingle pain.
Can you explain why this combination helps?
I cannot explain why. There's a lot of formulas, even the herbs, because I spent my whole life studying them, I cannot explain why. But I know that the gualo is, we use a lot for the chest areas, for the stomach pain, for the bloatings, for the mucus, for the constipations, all of those. And honghua is for moving blood, but it's 1.35 grams, 1.5 grams or 3 grams. It's a very, very small amount. I mean, somehow somebody says, that's done.
Isn't it said that smaller doses of honghua actually tone
That too, yeah. So this is one, the key was, of course, is the guano, but this is the one. Some formulas you can explain why it works. Sometimes it's like a lot of formulas, that's, I'm learning a little more, okay, this is how it works, I'm going to follow, so how to test it just the way it is. Instead of becoming smart, because I thought, okay, this is trying to figure out my way. My way is not as old as Chinese medicine way, so. What do you call that? Plantar fasciitis? Okay, say it one more time.
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, that's plantar fasciitis is very, very common, isn't it? Okay, so the patient, the first time they get up in the morning, they touch the floor, their feet hurt. And sometimes people hurt it for a long time. In Chinese medicine, the reason why it hurts, according to Chinese medicine theory, because Chinese medicine think of that area is the kidney meridians, is kidney deficiency. So about 300 years ago, the Chinese has Yizhong Jinjian, the book, a medical textbook, government book, and used the 六味地黄丸, because everybody knows 六味地黄丸, right? Has anybody never prescribed 六味地黄丸 before? I don't think so. Everybody probably had used it. So how many of you have ever used the 六味地黄丸 for heel pain? Has anybody used the one for the heel pain, for the fasciitis? Sometimes take this recipe, it can take even up to a couple months for the pain to go away. It takes a while to get it out. One time I treated somebody coming with that pen, and surprise, after one session, she didn't get, she got healed. I thought it would, okay, maybe take a couple of months, because, usually it's indicated kidney deficiency a long time, so if you, I'm sure you do treat it. Who treats it, plantar fasciitis? Who treats it? Okay, everybody. Yeah, so next time, if the patient open to the herbs, consider this, do what you want.
No question?
Yes,
Did you
sir.
say 2 months?
You could. I thought it would take 2 months, but sometimes it's faster.
I didn't raise my hand, but I actually treat one, use that formula, but I quit too early because I didn't see the result. I only used 2 bottles, and then after that, still very little, and then we gave up.
Yeah,
2
sometimes
months.
things does take longer than we expected. I remember those, yeah.
Thank you.
I feel I share that, same challenge with you too. It's like, earlier I told the lady has a, back pain, and she did 12 sessions, pain gone, and 36 sessions later, sleep well. But before that, her sleep wasn't getting better, And I tried to quit the time, I tried to try holding the money down, wasn't getting better, but then somehow, and it all healed. It does take time. I think one lesson I learned from Teresa, about 15 years ago. Teresa is a young lady. She has lupus, and lupus, what sometimes was her toe was itchy, and then because lupus, sometimes the patient could lose their toe, and she wouldn't want to happen to her, so she came to me. I still remember this is someone who's she came to teach me a lesson. Every time she comes in, not every time, she comes in, she'll pay, okay, this is my 20 treatments. She'll pay the 20 minutes, she will come in twice a week. The results was so slow and not making much progress, a little bit, and it was, to me it was very slow, but she kept coming. Long story short, about 4 years later, about 120 sessions later, that's a long time, isn't it? Yeah. If it's all up to me, I don't think I would have her keep coming that long for that many times. But she wanted to. She's an Asian, she's Vietnamese, she's Asian, she knows Chinese medicine and more faith even than I do. So she comes in. 4 years later, this is what happened to her. Before, she had one child and 7-month premature birth, because lupus, that happens. And she might have some, maybe even miscarriage. And 4 years later, she became pregnant once, and healthy pregnant, and a 4-term baby. A couple of years later, pregnant again, twins, and 4-term. So she became totally symptom-free with one medication. She wouldn't dare to not take it. So okay, that's what he wants. So basically, she taught me a lesson. Sometimes it takes time to get results. You see, because I didn't have confidence to tell him, so coming here 400 times for 4 years, I don't know. But she came in, I learned a lesson from her. Sometimes we don't know how much results we can give to people until we try. I didn't know. So sometimes we stop a little too early. Sometimes things stop too early. So I totally share that with the challenge with you. Thank you for sharing that part. All right, so I just want to hear from you. What's your intake? What's your comments? This morning? What anybody has anything to share? Just open the. So I haven't started with you 1 minute. So anything you want to share? What do you learn? Whatever you want to share.
Well, I think it's important, like you're saying, is, that we should all share together. And so if anybody has like any type of techniques that they found that are really effective and really work, we can share it with our colleagues and friends and our patients.
Thank you for that confirmation. Yeah, I'd like to, anything you want to comment, anything you want to say?
Same kind of thing, practical experience, these books any day. Because you can read the books over and over again, I've tried many things in the last 20 years, and practical experience and what people have passed on to me has always worked.
Thank you for that, yeah. You want anything you want to share?
I'm almost retired, so I don't do much anymore. But for the plantar fasciitis, I have the people stretch and make sure they wear shoes with an arch in them, and it usually gets rid of it.
Great, thank you. Thank you for sharing, yeah. So Karen, any comments, anything,
I've just enjoyed this, it's
What do you enjoy? Just tell us what
The
you enjoy.
practical, all of the practical, nitty-gritty of all of it.
Thank you.
Specifics.
Appreciate that, yeah. Tony, if you want to come in and say? What?
I'm good.
How good are you? Thank you. Wonderful. Luna, anything you want to share?
It was good to be here to hear from each other and learn from each other. It's very good experience.
Wonderful, yeah. Dr. Zhang, anything you want to come, Dr. Zhang? Any comments?
I like it.
I like it, okay. Dr. Sun, anything you wanted to share?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, please.
Gualo is the fruit, right?
Yes, it's the whole bottle, everything.
Gualo, do you mind to tell me is there the Chinese name for
Gualo.
gualo? No. No, what I'm saying is
Chinese what?
Tianhuafen is the root of
Yes.
gualo.
Yes.
So, is it a vegetable name?
It's,
我知道它是 squash，
Yeah.
但是我要知道 there's so many squash. What kind of squash is it? Do we eat it in China?
I never eat it, I never sit on the
Is it
marketplace.
purely
For medicine.
used as medicine?
Yeah,
So gualo is the one that long, right?
no, this is
Oh,
wrong.
is the 胡瓜
Yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's what I
胡瓜
thought. And I'm looking it up because we're having this conversation, and it's actually in the gourd family, so you probably wouldn't eat a gourd. But-
Wow.
But
Thank
it's
you
the
for sharing that.
fruit. Yeah, it's not the
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so Leslie, anything you want to comments you want to make? I know I wouldn't want to rehash the audience too.
No, I think it's great. What everybody else says, I happen to agree with. I think practical presentations and exchange of ideas and experience is worth its weight in gold.
Thank you for your encouragement, yeah. Thank you, give me a second chance today, yeah. So Jimmy,
I think what you last mentioned about giving it time, nope. You know, we all have experience, whether we treat 1,000 cases, and we think a specific disorder will get better in a certain amount of time, but sometimes it may not. And so you always want to, communicate with the patient. It may take more time than we anticipate.
well, thank you. Yeah. Dr. Moore, any comments?
Dr. has another advantage. It's not good. I think it's all important. I glad to learn. Because in the past, I stressed on this Chinese medicine, acupuncture. But Dr. Wang has another thing, how to stress on this management, the business part. Because you have to pay detail for the clinic. Because at last, after they are out of the class, you got to make it work. So there is some management part and the detail part and the management and also the skill when you really work in the clinic. It's so important, detail. And let me ask Dr. Wang about it. He see lots of patients and how you manage this and the people skill.
Why don't you ask, you said ask them to ask. Why don't you ask? What question you want to ask?
Dr. Wang is good at this kind of management. How you manage this patient. Because when you are in school, you just learn to treat each patient, but when you manage this and the people skill, even for the video, you make a schedule appointment. How you manage this, it's very important. And I know another acupuncturist, his wife even measure from this room to that trash can, how many steps? And where to put this, where to put that, it's very important. When you see one patient, two patients, you don't notice this. But when all of a sudden you see lots of patients, it becomes a huge problem. It's totally just, that's why I ask, that's also important to have this battle, have that system. Otherwise, just
It's very true, Dr. Ma. I have people that are newer than me that are starting to practice in my clinic, and they'll move a trash can a couple of inches over or something. And I'm like putting it in half to have my ergonomics, or I can't move fast.
Yeah, but they probably too big, and maybe this, other time class, Dr. Wang, that really help. It's very important.
Yeah, so personally, I see about 80, 90 patients a week. Yeah, so sometimes 100. So personally, I do. We have a few associates here. So,
Over 4 days, right?
The what?
4 days.
How about 4.5 or 5 days? Yeah. So that's so I said, so the time does, Dr. Mark mentioned that, how you book appointments with those people. I know besides the medical skill, the things you all know, and he's mentioned about the people skill. About 2009, 2000, just 2000, probably 2000, the year before I opened my own practice. I took a training course called a Dale Carnegie training course, and probably anybody heard about that. Anybody heard about Dale Carnegie training course? Okay, anybody take it?
That's your
Dale
idol.
Carnegie?
You what?
That's your idol.
That's my idol. Well, whatever. Because I was working at home. I was teaching, but I know this American culture is a foreign culture to me. I didn't know how to deal with people, and so I wasn't teaching, but I remember I was just sign language, talking to people, the language and this. So I said, it was like about $1,400-1,500. I paid my money on my own. I went to school and said, hey, if I increase my earning ability by 1% per year, over the time I get my money back. So I said, I just went there for Dale Carnegie training course. So that's what Dale Carnegie training teaches people how to deal with people, how to not criticize people, how to smile, how to you smile people feel your confidence. Doesn't matter whether or not. So you smile, make difference. People like you when you smile, right? So it's a simple thing like that. I said, okay, maybe I can try and learn how to smile. So the Dale Carnegie, I took Dale Carnegie twice. Because second time they offered to me for because I sent some people to it. I sent my wife to Dale Carnegie training. I sent my son to Dale Carnegie training when he was 17, the last year in high school. So I put my money where it is, so I do believe in the Dale Carnegie training courses. Another thing I do is, you all know Toastmaster, right? Toastmaster, Toastmaster is basically where people go, they train how to talk. If anybody needs a training, this guy needs it. So I do that too. So that's what the talking also was that. All right, so, okay, let's decide any comments. Let's see, Katie, any comments from you?
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring, great, thank you. Michelle, Michelle?
You're my favorite person.
I can answer for this. Thank you. All right, let's see, Alejandro, any comments?
No, thank you.
You're welcome, yeah. I still need to give me, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of things that we learned today is, to me, symptom treatment. So neck pain, the knee pain, and then it's important to bring results quickly so that they stick. But when pain comes up, that is a symptom, it's a sign, something was wrong for a while. So that's why it starts, right? And then you explained, like, for example, neck pain. People use computer, right? People, but I think it's more than that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's important to bring results quickly, but then after that, like, for your fibromyalgia patient, so you brought great results in short time, but she was still depressed, so you gave herbal formula. But then it worked great for her, great. But let's say if the person has gluten allergy or something like that, and then you use Mushalmine, right? That could make the condition worse. Yeah? Yeah. So how do you, so we heard great stories, today, but how do you follow? I mean, it's hard for me to understand. Somebody comes and then 8 treatments, great for 10 years, don't never come back. That's great, but what else do you do to, maintain or educate or follow up patients?
That's a great point. So how do you follow up patients? So instead of, come to see me 3 years later, 3 sessions, and 9 years later, see me 1 time, something like that. I mean, so everybody has different kids. Let's say, because somebody will be, somebody, they can see a patient carrying them for years, they're coming every month, every 2 weeks, they're coming to care for them. And some people, they're different kids. Because my case is, I get people who are fast, because I mean, there are a lot more people coming in. So I didn't not, say, okay, I need to cultivate this patient relationship, have them, take the pain down, okay, let's give the spleen, let's do those things, let's do those things. So can I do it? I probably could. But my gift is if somebody coming from some of them, does that person need it maybe more than 8 sessions or 12 sessions, whatever it is, like that lady has 120. That was not my credit, because if up to me, I wouldn't keep her for 120 times, no way. But she was the one, and she said that, so everybody has different gift. If your gift is say, I want to work with few people, but I want to work with them year after year, take good care of them for them a long time, that's super. Because health, there's a lot of part of the health. Lifestyle, the life, and there's sleep, there's career, a lot of things in there. Yeah, so she made great points, because how do you take care of them for a long time, take a much bigger care, because here we are pretty narrow for this is, the thing is focus on this, but you can give a whole care to the person. Certainly, if that's your gift, that's your calling, and certainly you can build a whole thing around that too. Totally. Yeah, great comments here. Rudy?
I'm excited to use stomach 3 and small intestine 19, see what kind of results those bring.
Let me know, maybe we'll see.
I know, I'd love to read this book. You said the author is he who
Yeah,
read?
it's in Chinese though, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's in Chinese?
Yeah, sorry.
That's not gonna
But yeah, so because she allowed to tell me to translate it or something.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
And then put your name on it, and I'll read that.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah. Now, I love how media. Go ahead.
No, it was good to learn about the points that we don't normally use, kind of like stuff theory, kind of proves that. So it'll be interesting to try them out and see the effectiveness.
Great, well, thank you, let us know. Yeah, so Ruby?
I like the concept of simple, so less needles. I'm gonna try to use less needles and use these special points. I'm kinda curious to try it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so then?
Yes, definitely I learned a lot today. I did say I come here because also support TALM, but one of the main reasons is you're here. I'm here for you.
Thank you, yes, absolutely, yeah. So Judy, right? Okay, any comments? Yeah, you gotta be quiet there.
Well, I'm sick, and so if I have to be here, this is pretty good. I don't really want to be here because I'm sick, but if I have to.
Hope you get well fast.
Well, I want to say thank you to Leslie, Jimmy, Gwen, and Dr. Ha, and anybody else who's presenting. Is that it? I think it's really cool that I've increasingly come to enjoy the TAAOM seminar, and part of what I most like about it is just the sense of our own community coming together to learn from one another. Now, my role, of course, in being here in part, I am the president of the association. Now, I want y'all to know, I paid for this class, okay? I'm not getting a free ride here. I just paid on PayPal for this class. But what I want to say is, I thank you all for coming, because your money from this class all goes.
Give them a hand first.
We have to raise a lot of money. There are some among you who are lapsed. I can tell you if you're not sure. There are some among you who are not members. Please join your association. We have been working so hard over the last 5 or 6 years, gaining momentum little by little, and there's some stuff going on, and something's gonna happen. We don't know what, but we have got some traction at the legislature, at the chiropractic board, and we can talk about all that later. But thank you, and please support the association, and thanks again for you guys giving your time so graciously come in and teach for you.
Well, thank you. All right, so now it's time, let's conclude the class today. Thank you very much. You have been a great audience. I totally enjoyed it. Thank you.